Are we ready? All right, I'm going to call this meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody. Just a reminder, if you are here to speak, to sign in. If you're here for the wake boat ordinance, we will address you at the time that it is on the agenda, but please, if you plan on speaking, sign in on the sign-in sheet there.
Madam Chair, you mean if you plan on speaking at open forum?
Yeah.
Yes.
So open forum is early.
Yes, if you plan on speaking for the wakeboard boat ordinance, you don't need to sign in.
You can state your name later.
Yep. All right. Any changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, I would ask to add the item of the Verizon tower. I had spoken to a few of you. I had a conversation with the gentleman from Verizon, and I know we've had some questions with regards to that tower, so I've invited him here. So I would ask to add that item, and I believe Peggy confirmed that he is online.
Okay.
At what time?
Would you want to put it on?
He's online, so if you would like to take him early, that's fine.
Can we put him on hold for a few hours? Like we all get put on hold from Verizon?
It's entirely up to you, Commissioner.
Let's
Put it at number 2 under Carrie's report.
Yeah. I mean, he'll be here after
Yeah.
There'll be a while, but, okay, any other changes to the agenda?
Madam Chair, I have a question on the 9 o'clock Pickerel Lake seeking water surface ordinance. Are we looking to set a public hearing for that? Is that what that discussion is about, and to what that public hearing would entail? Is that
Madam Chair, or do you want me to answer?
Yep, you go ahead.
Okay. All of them are here. If you recall, a year ago, we had some clarification from the DNR about the process if they want to look at this. So in answer to your question, Commissioner, we would be this board would need to review the information, make the decision whether or not on behalf of the Lake Association to submit the application to the DNR for consideration, as well as because it's our standard to set the public hearing. So both of those items.
I guess I'm a little confused on that statement. Are we set a public hearing prior to sending to the DNR, is that correct?
That is my understanding.
That is my understanding.
And then we vote after that public hearing whether we want to send support or not.
That's correct, because we would be the authorized individual.
We're basically at this time having a brief discussion about whether we should set a public hearing or not, and to what requirement we would have that public hearing, what restriction we would have that public hearing.
Yes, and in I believe information that was sent to all of you, there was a model, a draft ordinance that they would like, the Lake Association would like to have considered. However, you would have the ability to modify that if you so choose.
Okay, thank you for that.
All right, anything else? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
All right, I have a motion by Dave. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, next we have the minutes. Anybody have any corrections or omissions from the July 21st meeting?
Madam Chair, I have one, page 2 of 3 under informational technology. The number 1, motion second to upgrade the current Microsoft 2019 licenses and MS SQL licenses to 2022 and 2025. I'm just confused on that.
I had that also because I wasn't really sure what that meant.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Aren't those the updates, the
year of the updates?
Are we updating them to 2022 and 2025?
Judy's, I'm sure, online, but I think that is the,
Year of the updates were,
that's the number of the updates?
number of
I
the
mean, or
update.
that, like,
Yeah,
I guess I'm not sure I thought that's what the updates were called, the 22 update and the 25 update.
I think that's correct, but I wasn't 100% sure, so,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. And then I had one more under land use, just down below that, where we're hiring, we're made the 2 part-time to full-time. And then it says, pay station attendant position to include other duties on the solid waste campus. Should we say other duties assigned instead of just other duties? Does that
I think it'll be in the
job description?
job description.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it was just made so they could be more versatile.
okay. All right, that's all I had.
All right, anything
Madam-
else?
Madam Chair, just under appointments, under the second bullet point, post, it says appointments. I think just eliminate the word post EDA, because I'm wondering if we're just saying we need to post, just put an EDA opening on District 1. Post was maybe just a reminder to do it, I don't know.
Okay, anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the,
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I'd like to pull item 6. Not that, I just want to talk about it some more, just so you know what's going on there. And we could do that now and then approve it if you want to, or
Could you just do it in reports?
I could, yep, I
Just
can.
approve it now and if you want to talk
Yep.
about it. Or if you have a,
It's no voting, it'll be just for discussion. Yep, I can do that. And I will. With that,
I
I'll-
wonder if, I think it would make more sense for us to vote for it after open forum if we're going to discuss it at the open forum.
Or just,
You know what I mean?
not open forum.
I don't mean open forum.
I mean, just,
I mean
I-
reports.
if we're going to discuss it, I think we should approve it afterwards.
we'll just
Yeah.
discuss it now then.
Let's do it now.
All right, let's do it now.
Okay, just, like I said, our solid waste campus is growing. This is something that, I just wanted you to be aware that these containers are one thing, but the next thing that's going to be coming is a truck to haul these things around. I don't know if it'll be next year or this fall yet, but I don't want to surprise anybody. Like I said, our waste campus is growing, and this is the first part of something that's going to be coming down the road. And that's really all I wanted, because we have fees. We've got to wait for a Haug truck, a Mackner truck to come up there to move all these things around our campus. So it's the same conversation you had when I wasn't on the board, but when you were hauling stuff to Perham and you decided to buy trucks. This is the same kind
Yeah,
of
this
conversation.
truck wouldn't, you could buy a used one and
Correct.
should be
Absolutely.
fairly.
Because it would be just for around the campus.
They're not as expensive as a waste truck.
Correct.
I mean, these are relatively,
They're affordable, and we can't be doing something and then watch for a Haug or
Wait for
Mack.
Haug.
but these trucks aren't a high item. They're not a high dollar one.
No,
I
but
would
we-
imagine you could retrofit any tractor for a reasonable amount.
Yeah, well,
Or they shouldn't, I
reasonable.
don't think they're too. it's
no,
just-
they're not bad. You buy a used one, they're not bad, and they're available. Haug's got one sitting out there. They took the hook off of it, but that was one of those trucks, so I don't know what they did with that hook. They just bought a brand new one. And we have to be able to move them. We can't wait for somebody to come and do that. That's just not gonna work, for what
And
we're
it-
doing out there.
A couple things, just in general of consent items. This is a pretty large capital purchase. Do we want to have an amount set where we don't go on a consent agenda, or do we just want to do what we're doing where we can pull them off if we want to pull them off? I don't know. I would
know
have
we've
pulled
had
this too.
conversation many times.
Yeah, I would have pulled this too
What-
because of the cost.
I think we just have to determine what that amount is,
Yeah.
so Peggy knows. Or Carrie.
And
whoever.
I don't know the answer to that. But
Well, with that conversation, I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, to Dave's point, excuse me, I'm not a big fan of the consent agenda. I think these type of things that come before the board, and if Steve was presenting this to approve, we would have discussion, albeit so brief probably, but to learn more about each department, the consent agenda does us no favors, in my opinion. We're going through those way too fast. And you look at our times for our meetings, we're getting down to an hour and a half long meetings to go through.
We've never had an
everything.
hour-and-a-half meeting.
Well,
Very
scheduling.
Scheduled,
They're scheduled.
but it's never been an hour and a half.
But I'm just saying, so I am more in favor of keeping things off the consent agenda than putting things on.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I am leaning more towards that.
I mean, certainly the regular claims, audits, warrants, those type of things are easy to do. So anyway, my opinion. Thank you.
And I just want to make one more comment. I would like to know in the future how much money we have remaining in that organics grant. What do we have left? Because now we're
The
spending.
organics grant money is gone.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
there's
gone.
none left
Okay.
there.
Okay, because the last time Steve was here, he said there was some left, but that must not be.
Yeah, no.
So then okay, that was my.
Okay. Anything else? Otherwise, we can move on to open forum. Thanks, Nate.
And to remind everyone, make sure your phone's on silent. I just had to check mine again.
I can take it.
Mine has rang at the worst possible moments in here, so.
Is there anybody on here that is not here to speak to the wakeboard boat ordinance? You are? Okay. Come on up. And what was your name?
Lutz, I'm at 25590 Brandy Lake Road, Detroit Lakes.
Welcome.
Just wanted an update on the blighted properties. Wanted to know, basically, I tried looking to see where the meetings or committees were having their meetings at, and so far I haven't been able to find anything on the county website. So I don't know if that's a meeting that's supposed to be held every month, every 3 months, or how are we proceeding with that to get?
Are you talking specifically on the blight ordinance?
That's correct.
I think we meet as needed. I don't think we,
Okay. Because I'd like to say that it's been getting worse. We've got about 30 new used stacked up tires, and I just don't want to see snow flies and we're still sitting there
Yep.
doing nothing.
yep. Carrie, do you have an update on that blighted property?
I do. I had gotten the Brandy Lake, correct?
Correct.
So yes, I've had some conversations. This has been a topic at our subcommittee, and I know that the concern has been sent to Kyle. There was that issue, and then also, isn't there a shared common area on the Brandy Lake as well?
There is. I don't see a lot of junk on that right now.
Okay, so that was also a recent concern that came, so we do have all that information.
When I drove by it this morning, I did have one parked on that commons area, but the main concern is the front properties. I mean, it's.
And do we know what
Right.
what the next step is? So Kyle has the information, and then what's the next step?
I don't know that off
We
the
don't know.
top of my
Okay.
head, sorry.
Because, I really think my own personal opinion is that we have laws on the book that deal with that currently. I mean, there's a nuisance. I don't see where they have a conditional use permit for a junkyard. And basically, that's what it is.
Has Brian been consulted on this one?
Either he or somebody from his team, all of, as we meet on the properties that are presented, we do have input from his office.
Okay. So the county attorney has been involved. I don't know what the next steps will be, but hopefully we keep it moving in the right direction.
Okay, so basically, you guys could probably speak with the county attorney, see where he's at.
Well, I don't know that he'll probably tell you anything.
Okay.
Madam
But-
Chair, Mr. Lutz, I think your best contact would be Kyle Varberg at Planning and Zoning. He's kind of the head of pulling these things together, as I remember when we met last year on these.
Yeah, and, not to say anything bad about Kyle, but in the past, my dealings with him has resulted in nothing happening.
Well,
I will, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
I mean, he also only can do so much, right? I mean, so I think that it maybe isn't
I
necessarily.
understand that. My main concern is if I can see some progress, that would be a helpful sign. But, yeah.
Yep. No, I hear you. So,
Okay, thank you,
okay.
guys.
Yep, thank you for coming in. All right, anybody else here not to speak, not about the ordinance? Otherwise, we will move on. All right, reports and correspondence.
Madam Chair, I'll start with Sunnyside. We have we are in the red right now. We are still waiting for the new rates that are supposed to take effect January 1st of 2026. With those new rates, we're anticipating the rate increase from would get us, right about that even mark, which is pretty good in this era. We are also waiting for a $100,000 payment, plus or minus, in accounts receivable from Medica. It's just they just drag their feet, and it's difficult, so they're not being real cooperative. There's a new statute being or it's not a new statute, but it's being enforced now. The state, we had to purchase a biomedical electrical safety tester, and the fire marshal monitors this. So this in every nursing home, every outlet, every electrical outlet, every electrical piece of equipment, including electric beds, phone chargers, computers, lights, every piece has to be tested annually. And recorded that you've tested this for a possible shorts or something. So it's another requirement. Even a resident's charger for their phone, you have to test once a year. You have to test everything. So I mean, it's just in my opinion, it's just another law and rule that's an overreach that is just causing us more time to record, and I mean, obviously there's some things that should be tested probably at a regular, but it in my opinion, it seems like government overreach.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Nelson, just on Sunnyside, I mean, last year at this time, I mean, we were deep in the black. Those reasons you've given have put us into the red?
Last year, our regular, our census right now is 26, which is below our budget. We are budgeting at what, 27, 28. So, and then Medicare days make those more profitable or less profitable. But we're balancing that with offsetting some, hours of service. So last year we were on the positive side with those old rates, and then we had that big grant money.
Employee retention.
It was about 450,000. So we were profitable last year last year we were in the black by 400,000.
368 or something.
Yeah. So I mean, with that was a huge reason. So with
Didn't you pay off debt last year?
we paid off the debt just recently now, so we have no debt, paid off the loan that we had with ourselves, with the county. So we have no monthly debt now. With the new rates, with the back paying of that new rates, that should offset our negative balance right now.
But you're waiting for the rates.
Well, we have to be, we're at the mercy of the.
Is it at capacity?
No,
Sunnyside? I
no.
mean,
We have a, capacity is what, 30?
30, but they don't fill that one.
Yeah, we're usually close. We're at capacity at times. We're at capacity cash flow, but again, we are one of the few small nursing homes in the state that are doing this well. And we are usually a 5-star, amazing facility out there. We have really good reports. We're also going through some audits from different agencies. The Centers for the CMS, they're doing a couple PBJ audit, that's payroll audit, and the IRS had some questions that I think Carrie's been aware that, so they had some staff, they're auditing the staff time to make sure everything's paid well. Paid appropriately for the payroll exclusions and stuff, so. Had Lakeland Mental Health. Lakeland Mental Health had a really good report, so there's a 7%, we are at 7% profit margin at Lakeland Mental Health. And one thing, our request that Lakeland made to us, I think I shared that with you. Our human services has found some duplication of services that we could, so we're requesting to look at that and maybe not have to pay that increase. I wasn't informed of this. It sure would have been nice to have that information prior to going to the board meeting, so I could have been informed rather than hearing at the board meeting that our human services has done this. And then I questioned.
Our human services?
Our human services did this, and I'm the board member, vice chair of the meeting, and I wasn't aware of this until I was at the meeting. So it'd be nice to know that information prior to going to a board meeting. I think that's a lack of communication from our human services to the board members that sit on that. I certainly would assume that Phil would want to hear about a change in procedure at Prairie Lakes if he's going to the board meeting instead of hearing about it there. So that was I was a little disappointed in that. But hopefully we can save some money by them finding that. So congratulations on looking at that and finding that. I'm going to question, have we been paying double all for quite a while
Yeah.
then? So
I guess I'm not sure what you're talking about, so.
well, I'm not either because I wasn't informed of it. So there you go.
We'll find out next week.
Yeah. And then I drove by, and this is for NRM probably, I drove by the Middle Corman Public Access, and you can't get a browner grass than that was. So the irrigation has not been working, and so I was going to ask, how are we maintaining some of our properties then when we have a shortcoming now of staff? But that was not good. That was not in good shape, and I was disappointed to see that because it's a highly used, especially in this heat. It should be kept better than that.
Does it have irrigation on it?
Yeah, and the pump was set up. It was in the water. I went and looked, but it wasn't. It hadn't been run, so for some time because the grass. It's not good. So anyway, we'll have to.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Nelson, was that an STS? Did they take care of that last year? I mean, we've had some turnover. And
Well,
I'm sure our new
that
guy
was
probably-
in the past, that was a Clay County STS would come over and do that, part of that project. So I'm not sure where we
So
are.
maybe
with
there's
it.
a
We're going to have
break
to
in
figure out,
communication.
but we have a part-time employee that manages some of the care on that, but obviously we might have skipped the beat on irrigating that. Or the timer's off or something, but it's not good.
Yep.
I think that's it.
I'll go next. The only meeting I had was a Dancing Sky meeting, and we're in the process of grant reviews, but with the Dancing Sky grants money to organizations that offer services to the older Americans. There's 60-plus people in Becker County, and not just Becker County, but in the 17-county region of Dancing Sky. So anyway, my first time ever reviewing grants, so I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what I don't know, so I had to find out all of that information too. So it was a long process the other day, learning how to go through those and what they mean and all this stuff. So it was good.
All right.
Oh, one thing to mention on Sunnyside and to Dave too, August 13th at 11 or 5, we're having a family resident picnic. So if anyone wants to stop out there, and it was a huge success last year.
It was, yeah.
So that's the 13th at 11 or 5.
All right, Phil.
All right, I had Prairie Lakes on the July 22nd. Just so you know, Prairie Lakes, for those of you out there, Prairie Lakes is our incinerator over in Perham. We're in joint agreement with 4 other counties. We burn about half our garbage over at Prairie Lakes. One thing we've been dealing with is the ash, and this kind of overlays into highway as well, but we used about 5,300 ton of our ash in our roadway. We've only got about 8 or 9 years of capacity left in our ash landfill. So by using that ash, we extended the life of our ash landfill about 6 months. So we're trying to get all the counties to get in and use some of this ash in the road beds as they're reclaiming the roads. So we did it this year, and we had some issues with it. We got to trommel the material better. We've got to get more chunks of stuff out of there, and the truck loading. The trucks got stuck when they were loading the material. I don't think our guys thought of, how we're going to get trucks turned around there. So, but those things can be fixed. Otter Tail County got a grant, I think about $7 million, but there's going to be a $14 million project for their transfer station, upgrade their transfer station. Part of that is building an ash facility. So we talked about this at Prairie Lakes, and we're going to form a subcommittee off of our joint powers, just so that everybody knows what's going on. And we'll meet when we have to, when big deals, when something important comes up, just so everybody's on the same page. What part of that money is going to Otter Tail County for their transfer station, and what part is for the ash facility? One thing, over in Perham, Otter Tail Power is our power company over there, and we budget increases every year, but this last year, we went up from $490,000 to $600,000, $110,000 increase in electrical usage. And I don't know if any of our department heads have been saying that's an issue over here. Obviously, I don't think we use Otter Tail Power over here, do we, in some of our places? But anyway, it really hit our budget hard. We weren't expecting that kind of an increase. So if anybody
What
hears.
percentage was that?
Well, we spent about $490,000 before, went up $110,000 to $600,000, and we hadn't budgeted that much, so.
That's a big increase. I'm
a big
wondering if there was added usage, or I would ask them
We
to
weren't
do
ex-
a, I would ask them to do a review and find out where that if there's higher usage or if it just fees.
Unless their rates
Rate
went up.
increase.
Right, but that's I don't,
that's
I've
what-
never heard, that's a big rate increase.
I know, that's why.
So I
was
would have them, and I'm sure your
We are,
administrators looking into the rate usage compared to the year before, and if there's a draw that's being, maybe someone's hacked into your account and
I hope not, yeah. I just want to make sure that we didn't get those surprise in this county from our electrical sources. I haven't heard anything, but I just thought that was interesting at our meeting.
My Otter Tail County, or the Otter Tail Power, I have one place on Otter Tail, doubled this month.
Really?
I thought there was a mistake, because I have wild rice over at the other one, and it's doubled. And
Well,
it's like,
that's somewhat confirmation then that,
well, I don't know, I've never
Yeah, well-
seen it that high before, but it's always been lower. It's always been my lowest electric bill, Otter Tail has been.
what, and you have to make sure if it's a small facility, just to increase in your monthly rate charge would make a big difference. But if, because I had Lake Region has increased their rate, their monthly base charge, or, so that hits a small account bigger, but your account, the Prairie Lakes shouldn't see that big deal.
that's actually, I'm glad I brought this up.
Well,
I'm glad you said
that
that, because
surprised me.
we don't have any other comparison that I know of. Like I said, it came up at our last meeting, and I thought that kind of stuck out. We will look into it. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. I hope there is a mistake, but anyway. All right, highway. We did a project update. 39 and 40 are pretty much complete. They might have some shouldering left to do. Westlake Drive is under construction. We all probably see that. I think everything is on, as we heard, is on schedule. One thing came up in highway, our Lake Park site, we have a structure that holds a couple plow trucks over there, and it's in need of, we need a new building over there, so that's something that we've been discussing and maybe we're talking about it right now. That's something that may be coming. And then on the agenda, we talked about some preliminary work, some gravel work on 120. We'll talk about that here. I'm sure Jim will be here. Went to the emergency management meeting. And Carrie, maybe you can report on that a little bit more. It seemed like we had about $300,000 worth of reimbursements that we could get paid. I thought it'd be a lot more than that. That isn't damage. I mean, there's a lot more damage, but reimbursable costs, which I was really hoping to see that and hope to stay on top of that. I thought it'd be more than that, actually.
Yeah, well, we learned at that meeting, I have that on my report because I attended also, but we learned at that meeting of what could actually be reimbursed, and there's 4 different categories, and that category A, which is which is the emergency protective measures, that's really like that day of, and making sure that everybody's safe and out of there. We learned we can only use overtime for the sheriff's department. So and no wages or no employees that are salary, we can't get any reimbursement for those wages. So
Lots of
We will-
exclusions, and you're only reimbursed 75% of your costs, so I
only,
mean,
yep,
you declare an emergency and you're expecting relief, and it's jaded. It's not
Yeah,
what you
and-
spent. Carrie spent, how many hours did you, if we went to have this storm, you probably got 100 hours in there, just storm-related stuff. You're a salaried employee, but, that's stuff you could have been spent doing something else. That's time you would have been spent, so, I don't know.
Yep.
Learned something anyway.
Yeah, the other thing going off of that a little bit too is we also learned that we won't be reimbursed for any abatements that we do. So I think we really need to, as we're moving forward with those abatements, really need to look at what that definition, as Barry has said, what are we going to abate? Is it if they're have everything, fixed that year? Is that something we abate? Is that eligible for abatement? I don't know, but I think we really need to because we won't be reimbursed for any of those abatements. And the other thing we learned is no volunteer organization for wages will be reimbursed. We can reimburse for the equipment that was used, like I believe the fire department. I don't know if they were there. I think they were at the meeting.
They were initially.
Yeah, they can get reimbursed for their equipment that was used, but because they're a volunteer organization, they won't get reimbursed for any of their time.
How about Wild Rice? Are they eligible for any?
Yep,
Utility
I believe the utilities is a separate
Separate category.
category.
Okay.
Yep, that's category F. So they,
Another shout out to Wild Rice because they were out there and they had everything out there. It was amazing watching those guys get power back to those people.
They were working like crazy.
the other thing that they made very clear too is that the emergency assistant is not for property owners because that's what they have their insurance for. So it really is more for those agencies, whether it's a government agency, utility company, those that are out there. They're the ones that will get some reimbursement. So.
I thought interesting too, here's the checklist of all the things, everything is on here, every device, and they have a price that you get reimbursed for. Well, these prices are 1980 almost. I mean, so with
And you get 75% of that.
75% of a price that isn't legitimate in today's world. So, I mean, it's going to amount to less than we thought all along. That's for reimbursement. So, okay. The other thing, I drove down to St. Cloud yesterday for a MAGIC committee meeting. MAGIC is Minnesota agency, Minnesota Association of Governments Investing in Counties. Our daily, we have some money there, and our daily return is about 3.6% liquid daily. Mary, we should probably talk a little bit about, they got some terms and some CDs. We can talk about that. We don't have to do it, but we should at least address it, see if we can squeeze some more a few more basis points out of our money that isn't quite used yet. So we have money that comes in when you pay your taxes 2 times a year. We get a huge influx of money. Well, it isn't all spent right away, so we invest it over time until we need it, and this is one way we can get some money back for the taxpayers of Becker County, and all the counties, 80 of the 87 counties in Minnesota use it. So last thing is just a future appointment, airport, and it's going to be for Sherbrooks. Dave, I talked to him yesterday. He's been on for 20 years, so there's going to be an appointment that we'll have to appoint in October when his term is up. So
Anything else,
that's all I got.
Richard?
I just had highway with Phil and he's covered that, so.
The only other one I have, other than the meeting, was just talk about the fair. Guys, were none of you there? Huh?
Did you serve pie and ice cream?
Yes.
I was there.
Yes, I did. So I just wanted to give a shout out to the Jim Griffinow and Judy Fancano for being the Becker County Outstanding Seniors. Barry and I were there serving pie and ice cream. It was actually a very good turnout. I think it was probably the best turnout since I've been a commissioner
For
for the senior program. for the pie and ice cream.
I thought
I
the,
mean, you have many more years than me, Barry.
I
You
thought
maybe
the
had a better
pie-
turnout.
the people getting pie and ice cream wasn't that many. I mean, it wasn't a huge crowd.
I thought there were more.
But at the senior program, there was quite a few people there.
There's a lot of people 2 years ago that.
Yeah, the program was well attended, I think partially because all the candidates for auditor treasurer and the sheriff and your position were allowed to speak. So there was a nice time to get to know some of the candidates.
Yep.
But the senior line for pie and ice cream wasn't that long. It didn't take us very long at all, so.
How much pie was left over after?
Well,
Wasn't much, was there?
Yes, there was, I mean, they have trays and trays of pie for sale at the 4-H building, so it's
sure.
ongoing.
Yeah,
It's not just for us, it's for sale and then we use it, so.
But it was a nice program. It was nice to, thanks to all the elected officials and the candidates that came to help serve. All of the auditor treasurer candidates, I believe, came to help serve. Both sheriff candidates were there. Rob Kupek was there and Paul Ecke were both there. So it was a nice turnout to have them there.
And just one more thing, Madam Chair, about the fair. The fair board, just a shout out to them, they worked tirelessly, put many, many hours in to make sure the fair runs smoothly. And now they're doing all, I mean, they're there at 6 a.m, picking up garbage, dumping it, and then they're there till dark, doing all their other things. So they do a lot of work and they put on a great fair in Becker County. We have one of the best fairs probably in the area, in the state maybe too.
And a shout out to our own Linda Perrine.
Yes.
I think am I correct? Her 50th?
It was her 50th fair
Her
Yeah.
50th fair,
Yep.
so.
as
shout
an
out to-
extension employee.
Shout out to Linda and we expect another 50 and then she can retire.
Yeah. The only other thing that I wanted to give a shout out was to the Becker County Youth Livestock Auction. I attended that, and that's always been, since I've been a commissioner, one of my favorite parts of the fair is to go and watch all the youth display their hard work and their many hours that they spent with their animals. Again, this year they raised, they believe, we didn't get the final count, but they believe over $100,000 for the youth, and that all goes either back to the youth or to the 4-H Youth Council. So I think overall it was another very successful year at the fair.
A nice article about Allie Kelly, if you haven't read that. It talks about her 12 years in 4-H and she has really excelled in showing, I think her favorite is pigs right now.
Yep,
so.
yep.
And she's going to SDSU to take up some line of
Agribusiness, I think it was.
agribusiness,
Yeah. So that was all I had. Anything else for reports and correspondence? Otherwise, we can move on to appointments. So we have the opioid settlement review committee. I think at the meeting, our last meeting, we discussed to have a commissioner on that.
Erica, are you
And-
still?
Yep, I said I would be on that.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to appoint Erica.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. The other,
Erica, a second commissioner could show up for that, right? And just sit in on that?
yeah,
Madam Chair, we should probably indicate in our motions and approval that this is a per diem and any other commissioner is available for
Yeah.
if you can't make it.
Yeah.
too, if that's acceptable.
yep.
But if you just wanted to sit in, we could have two commissioners there, because I'd sat in on a few of those. before.
Yep, the meetings for the advisory council, where we go and we get the updates, yes. I think the review committee, I'm not sure. I don't know, how often they meet or what they meet, but, we can,
Work on it. You're the,
I think-
that's fine.
And then-
That's fine. We can-
And I don't know if there's any possible way to do this, but when we get that information brought forward to us, all we have is, we don't really have anything except a number and doesn't state what it is, who it is, what they do. It'd be nice to have more information.
I think
I
if
know-
we want to do that, we'd have to have, and the board wanted to be informed, we'd have to attend those meetings and have to advertise them, but they'd be a closed meeting because I think that information
Yeah.
is not.
is
public.
not public until,
Could we have that was my next question, could we have a closed session to look at those?
Yes, I think you could, but I think that's something Carrie would work out.
yeah, if we feel like we need to, yep.
Yeah.
The only other thing for appointments that, I know it's not on the agenda, but I am on the RAC committee, and I have not been very good about attending, so I have talked to Dave to see if he wants to replace me on the rec committee. I don't know if we need a motion,
I think that's between you and him
Yeah,
right
that's what I-
now.
yeah.
okay,
If that's,
and we can change it after the first of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Madam Chair, I just wanted to advise you, I did have a communication from Brian McDonald.
Oh, yep.
The question was whether or not he'd be available if there were questions when we do talk about the Verizon tower. And he
Yep.
did indicate he has court at 10, so I don't know how you want to manage that.
So maybe we should do the Verizon tower before,
you have 5 minutes, so
Yeah.
We can't
You're-
start until.
you're fine. No, you can because it's not a public hearing, but
It
I
says on
would-
our agenda. that
I
we're
wouldn't,
late,
I wouldn't,
it'll be-
yes. I
Yeah.
would take the Verizon. You got
yeah,
5
let's do the Verizon, what is his name? Marcus?
Jamarcus, I believe.
Jamarcus? Let's have him,
Oh, Marcus. His
Marcus?
legal name is, yeah, he's listed on there as Marcus.
all right, Mr. Williams, are you there to
Yes, I'm
have a
here.
conversation? Oh, there we go. All right.
So, Madam Chair, if I may start, as many of you know, I've had some communication with Mr. Williams, who's online, and I was approached asking, and we had, I know I involved Mary as well as Steve in some of the conversations as well. This is involving our Verizon tower, and we were approached asking to modify our current contract that we have with Verizon, and they gave a couple of options, which were shared with the board previously, as well as some language changes to a perpetual easement. So that's where I had conversations at this level and at committee level at different points, and the board advised that they would like to remain with the current contract, and when I presented that information, Verizon was asking for a counteroffer once I presented that we'd like to stay, and I was informed that that is not an option to stay with the current contract. So that's where we are. That's why Mr. Williams is here, in case this board has additional questions.
And this contract is 2 years old, right?
Signed in '24.
And how long of a contract was it?
Is it 5 years, Mary? Yeah,
5-year with recurring 5-year
correct.
terms.
4 renewals.
It's a 25 contract but it automatically renews every 5 years.
I believe there's also
we're
a
2 years into it.
90-day out.
Yeah, there's a 90-day out, yes.
All right, Mr. Williams.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit more about why we are here 2 years later to renegotiate the contract?
Yes. So this is just coming down from my legal team. I'm just the middle person on this, just more so of your landlord advocate. So basically, what's going on is the wireless industry is just evolving from relying solely on ground-based cell towers to more of a hybrid network. So basically, LEO satellites, so low Earth orbit, or we also jumping over to small cells, but more so in rural areas, we are implementing LEO satellites. So very similar to a company by the name of Starlink that AT&T and T-Mobile has partnered with. We are doing our own thing, which is called AST Space Mobile. And it's just basically our goal here is to eliminate cell dead zones by turning satellites into cell towers. And that's what our whole goal is. And what we're doing is presenting our landlords with 2 options. Basically, the first option is a lump sum payment. So I think that was what Ms. Carey was speaking about. The lump sum payment option basically allows our landlords to kind of cash out at the highest value of the site. And these funds come from our funding partners. They don't come from Verizon itself. So it allows us to allow you guys to cash out the highest value of the site. And then the second form is more so of a lease restructuring option. So basically saying if you guys don't want to pursue the lump sum payment option or kind of go back and forth with that, what we're just basically stating that is, hey, if you're willing to roll the dice with us long term and, stay betting that the site will be here long term, we would just need to adjust the rent so that way the existence of this site can continue. That's just kind of basically everything.
So I have a couple questions slash concerns. Maybe we just approved 2 towers, I believe, was it our June meeting,
That was right.
Kyle? May or June meeting, we approved 2, and we're potentially going to be approving 1 today. So that's 3 towers now in our county that you're now saying you're going away from. So I'm a little confused at why we are continuing to get these applications for towers, but now you're saying they're going away, so you want to pay us less.
So our goal is not to have towers go away. Our goal is obviously to remain. However, if we're remaining, we just want to make it make financial sense. So I'm not stating that hey our goal is to shy away from all of these macro sites and jump over to small cells and LEO satellites. That would be physically impossible. We still need some. However, we don't need as many as we once did before.
But you're
Building more.
building more in a very small area. I mean, these 3 towers are all within a 10-mile radius. 2 of them for sure are within a 10-mile radius. One other comment that I just wanted to make that we have talked to other counties that are in similar situations, maybe have a tower on their county land, and what we are hearing feedback from them is they're getting an increase in their contract. So why are we getting a decrease?
So I wouldn't know about anyone else's lease as far as getting an increase. One thing I do know is Verizon rarely gives increases, especially when they're trying to shy away from sites. Now, I don't know if that was a Verizon site or AT&T. I don't know what carrier it was, but we do have different goals and metrics and financial obligations that we kind of have to align with all of our sites. So I'm not sure why they're getting an increase. It could be a project coming up in the next year, that site's become very, very valuable. Not saying that your site is not valuable, obviously it is, but it's different goals, different metrics. I'm not sure why they're getting an increase, but my goal here is to see how I can retain this site with this, specific contract.
Anybody else have any questions?
Well, I haven't heard anything different. I don't know why we're here.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why we're here either.
I guess the other explanation I wanted is one of the other changes to the contract was a perpetual easement, which was one of the things that we disagreed with. So what is the reason for the perpetual easement?
So that was for, I'm sorry to cut you off. That was
Nope, that's
for
okay.
the first option as far as the lump sum payment option. So there were 2 options, lease restructuring and also the perpetual easement going towards the lump sum payment option. Now, we say perpetual easement, however, the lump sum option only aligns with the lease. And basically meaning that if there's no use for the site, let's say if you guys do pursue the lump sum option, if a year or 2 later there's no use for the site itself, there is a period to where we have the chance to try to replace that carrier within 3 years. And obviously, if we can't, then it gets terminated. The lease gets terminated. So it is up to perpetual. I know a lot of our landlords have questions when they see the word perpetual. I mean, obviously it means, forever, but it only aligns with the current lease.
So it means
Then
forever,
take it
but
out and
only,
say put the
Yeah, it
lease.
means forever, but it only aligns with the lease.
Yeah, so our goal, our funding partner's goal is to obviously to, put the word perpetual to try to, lock in, their asset, obviously something that they're fronting money for. However, there are a lot, just like your specific lease, there are a lot of outs. As far as annual termination clauses and things of that nature. Same thing with the perpetual easement. There are outs in that as well. But obviously, overall, it is a perpetual easement, yes.
So I guess what we are struggling with is understanding what the advantage is of us taking a lower amount on our contract and signing up for a perpetual easement?
So, for the first option for the perpetual easement, the advantage is basically unlocking, locking in on future uncertainty. So basically stating that, hey, let's say Verizon decides that, they don't need the tower for any reason, whether that's the end of this year, whether that's next year, or however that aligns according to the annual termination clause in the lease. Um, you guys are able to, cash out shy under 100 grand for a tower that's in jeopardy or that's currently being flagged as far as its existence. So that is the advantage of the perpetual easement, just basically locking in future uncertainty and obviously helping to mitigate risk as far as the tower. The second option is, as far as taking a lower rent, is extending the life of this lease long term. So when we do an amendment, if we were, obviously pursue that route, we try to do an amendment for an extra 20 years. So the lease wouldn't end when the current contract is, it would be extended for an additional 20 years.
And if we say we want to continue with our current contract, which is what we have said, you said that that's not an option. Can you explain why that's not an option?
Yeah, so I did present that to the legal team. And what they came back at was usually what happens is if we can't reach some sort of deal with any of our landlords, not just, your sites, anyone, what the legal team does is, kind of point out, hey, there are termination languages in the lease. It gets sent over to our retention department. What happens is we'll have to issue a decline letter. The decline letter just basically states that, obviously we couldn't reach a mutual agreement. The terms of the lease stage is not affected until either A, the lease runs out, or two, we decide to terminate the lease and look for another tower. What I can say is in my experience, once the decline letter is sent out and this site is sent over to our retention department, they do start looking for to relocate. But nothing is affected in your lease until we decide to do so.
So to relocate to build a new tower?
Yeah, so either
That doesn't
relocate,
seem
not
very cost effective.
so I'm not saying to like build a new tower, but like usually in specific areas they'll try to relocate to another tower. I wouldn't say build another tower because it'd be really expensive.
Well, honestly, I'm a little more confused at this conversation than when we started.
Yeah, it sounds like we shouldn't have built a tower. We shouldn't build any towers because you don't want them. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I can agree. I definitely can agree with you there. Obviously, Verizon is building towers or leases, and then later on backing out. I do feel like Verizon kind of do what they need in that specific moment, and then later on down the line, they're like, "Hey, well, let's kind of claw back on a lot of this stuff." I understand your position. I just work here.
Well, wishes of the board.
Keep saying.
Well, if we want to change the lease, I think there should be a change fee in there. So we should, we can, for a $40,000 one-time payment, we can reduce the annual payment. That's our counter. But I think we'll have to have Carrie review a contract, but I mean, I don't understand why we would reduce our fee because they are liable for the tower. If they abandon the tower, they have to remove the tower from the property.
I see Brian's on here. Brian, do you have any thoughts or feedback?
I mean, it's up to the board. It seems like a policy call to me.
Okay.
Carrie, I again don't have, this just popped up last minute. I don't have the numbers in front of me on what the cost, what our current lease is per month and what they're asking to have it reduced. What is it? Can you just state it for everyone? So,
The lump sum fee.
no, not the lump sum, the monthly fee.
New rent amount,
I think it was
$500.
$2,000 a year, wasn't it? Difference?
Yeah, it was very low.
$2,000 a year. We're
That's about
sitting here debating whether we should accept it. I don't understand why Verizon, on all the fees and charges they put on every single phone, why they'd argue on a $2,000 a year decrease for Becker County. It's ridiculous. So I just say to move on. We're declining, and for $2,000 a year, if you can find a cheaper tower, then put your stuff on, then find it and remove the one that's there, because now we'll have our land back.
And they'll have to restore it, take the tower down and restore it to
Yeah.
the original.
Yep.
I agree with Barry.
Yeah, I do too.
So, Madam Chair, if that's the
Yeah.
wishes of the board, and that's what I would relay, he's heard it, but I would certainly.
We've already
put
acted
that-
on it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we acted out at our last meeting.
So
I
I
believe
just
so.
will maintain that position, and that is what I had indicated before, so.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
for coming,
Williams.
Mr. Williams.
Sorry we
Thank
didn't.
you.
And I understand. I was just at Verizon store the other day, and they said kind of the same thing. Well, we don't know corporate, so.
Hey, I work for Verizon, but I have AT&T service, so.
Well, thank you. It's all what best fits. So have a good day. Thanks for your time.
All right. Now we will move on to the Pickerel Lake seeking a water surface ordinance. So I have a list of people here that want to speak. I do ask that those that come up to speak, whether you're speaking for it or against it, to limit your time, because we do have a lot of people that want to speak. And even though Barry likes longer meetings, we want to get out of here
Doesn't matter.
before.
But Madam
the
Chair,
day.
I do want to stress too, though, that I want to understand what we're looking. We're not making decisions today whether we think it should or shouldn't go, but we're making a decision whether we have a public meeting on this, a public discussion, correct?
I think what we're deciding is what
If we
does
want, if
the
we want to
county
move,
want to,
if we want to move forward.
correct.
Okay.
Mhm. And by agreeing to move forward, the next first step would be setting a public hearing.
I think the other option, I think Carrie stressed too, we can, if we do want to move forward, we can set a less restrictive limit on that if we decide that's something we would like to do.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Please state your name and address, please.
I'm Sandy Stallmo, and I live at 21162 Northeast Pickerel Lake Drive. The majority of residents of Pickerel Lake are seeking an ordinance to prohibit wake enhancement wake surfing on the lake. Our lake is very small, very narrow, which is our primary concern. There are only two areas that are wider than 1,500 feet. The majority of the lake is quite narrow. Oh, thank you. The University of Minnesota study was a well-designed study, meaning that it was designed to avoid bias, and it relied only on observable facts. And it found that enhanced wakes need over 500 feet to dissipate to the same level as a speedboat. Currently, there are no laws restricting how close to shore a wake boat can operate. Some of the boats on our lake have tried to stay in the middle, and they're trying to be good neighbors about it. And others, we get others from other lakes that prefer to come to Pickerel because we are long and narrow, and there's only then north-south traffic. There's no cross traffic to get in the way. We're a deeper lake in a valley, so there's less wind affecting. So it's been, the idea that coming to Pickerel to wake surf has been spread amongst the community, and we are seeing people from other lakes using it for that purpose. But our main concern bringing us to you today are the safety hazards that this situation presents. Even when a wake boat tries to stay in the middle of the lake, all other watercraft are within that 500-foot impact zone. There is no place to escape. There are numerous people that are reporting to me safety incidences that have happened, myself included. On our pontoon, a wake boat had passed far enough away that I really hadn't noticed it. I was watching the shoreline and whatnot. And I stood up to get something off the table, and the waves hit our pontoon, knocked me literally off my feet, and I landed right on my hip. Those waves are very powerful. Many reports of people having to leave the lake because their pontoons are getting swamped with water. Kids are trying to swim along the shoreline, and parents have to pull them out of the water because it's just unsafe to be swimming there. An adult is reported just standing by her dock. The waves hit her and knocked her onto the rocks. Even when the wake boats are in the middle of the lake, this is the impact of these waves. So many people are having to leave the lake because of the enjoyment of one wake boat out there, and people have to get off the lake for their own safety. People are going to start getting seriously hurt. Our lake is so narrow that there is no way to escape it. It's a huge problem for us. Paddle boats, paddle boards, kayakers, everybody is struggling. And the enjoyment of the one person on the lake with a wake boat shouldn't be paramount to the enjoyment of everybody else that lives there and the safety of everybody else that lives there. You know, environmental impacts are also a concern with the narrower parts of our lake. There's a lot of erosion happening. And people are quite upset. The children are scared. The adults are scared for their kids. The adults are scared for themselves. And there's numerous reports, I say, that have come in. If you look on the back of that packet I provided you, there are maps of our lake that are laid out. This first one being the area that is 500 feet from shore. The second map is just the small area where there's 500 feet from shore plus a 200-foot wake sport zone, which is what is being recommended by the U of M. And those two small areas that allow enough space are not big enough for a wake boat to operate in. They would be, every time they turn or turn around to go back the other direction, they're outside of that zone. So there is no safe place for any of the rest of us to enjoy our lake. There's others now that want to also just present their own testimonials as to the problems that they have experienced. We have collected a petition we were able to contact 70% of our residents, and of those 70%, 100% signed the petition. It's a huge problem for us.
When you say residents, are you referring to those that live on the lake or those in
Yes.
your township? Okay.
On the lake, yeah. I'd ask others to come up and give their testimonials as to what they've experienced.
All right, I will, I'm just going to name the list off here once we get through here. And if there's anybody left that wants to speak, just let me know. I just ask that if you try to limit your time so we can get through everybody, and keep it to the point, and don't repeat. Thank you, Phil. Okay, the first one on the list is, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce anybody's last name, but Joe Luigi? That was what Phil said, so it was Phil's mispronouncing, not mine.
Blame me.
Just threw it under the bus, but back up.
My name is Joe Lawaji. I've had a place on Pickerel for about 16 years now. Around 8 years ago, my wife and I built our dream home on Pickerel Lake. We love Pickerel Lake. We now have a situation where we're feeling so much pressure and harassment from a few members of our lake association that we've put our place up for sale and decided to move to a different lake. Certain members of the Pickerel Lake Association have created an environment where a few people feel that it is okay to harass us when we use our surf boat. Our kids have been called losers. Pontoons have purposely pulled very close in front of us to cut us off, and people have cussed and yelled at us. I'll admit, my kids are not perfect. They can cause problems. They're teenagers. I get it. I'm not looking for a pity party here, by all means. What I'm looking for is to help other people on the lake not experience this, and also other people in lakes all throughout Becker County not experience the same thing. And to do that, we need you guys to not support this issue, because it's just going to create a storm of these type of things happening throughout Becker County. You guys on the board have a big decision to make, and you need to base your decision off of facts. And I feel a couple of the facts that you've been given in the agenda packet have been manipulated and misconstrued. Line 7 in the water surface use worksheet states that 70% of the lake's residents were contacted about a surfboat ban, and that 100% signed that petition. This is false. I have emails from several people on the lake that I can give you guys that were contacted, and they strictly said they would not sign the petition, and they're not on this list. Also, one of the people on this email who refused to sign the petition is on the board, from the Pickle Lake Association board, so I wonder how he was not able to be contacted and have his opinion heard on this so-called petition. Also, certain members of the Lake Association have circulated a document that was made to look like it was from the Minnesota DNR, and this was titled Lakes in Becker County that meet the DNR criteria. This was sent out to our entire lake on an email thread, basically saying that the DNR had a list of lakes that did not meet the criteria to have a wake boat on them. I contacted Adam Block, who is with the Minnesota DNR, and he handles the surface water use restrictions. He told me he was not aware of this list and asked me to send him the list. I forwarded this list to him. He said he has had nothing to do with the list. He said he has forwarded it in the meantime to his lieutenant, who has also sent it to the DNR commissioners, who are going to look into try to figure out who made this list and ask them to stop using it with the DNR's name on it, to make it look like it's an official DNR document. And my problem with this list is it was sent out to everyone on our lake in a way that made it look like the DNR is telling or supporting people that this lake should not have wake boats on it. It's being used to persuade public opinion, basically. The DNR's only stance on wake boats right now is that they stay 200 feet from shore. The facts are, there are multiple studies out there on wake boats and their effect on lakes. The most extreme study against wake boats is by the University of Minnesota. States that wake boats should stay 500 feet from shore and in depths 200 feet or deeper. Pickerel Lake is 3 miles long, and there's a 1 mile stretch that has a width of 1,000 to 1,500 feet and is deeper than 20 feet. Pickerel Lake also has a rocky shoreline that handles waves and erosion better than sandy shorelines. I understand both sides. There was a time in my life when I did not like waves. I had young kids I wanted to fish with. Now I like waves. These are phases of life. Pickerel Lake is a public body of water, and it should be there for everyone to share and enjoy regardless of what stage of life a family is in. No resident of any lake should be banned from doing something that they love because other people don't like it. We've got a 3 mile lake. We use 1 mile of it for wake surfing. There's 2 other miles there for everyone to enjoy. I feel that instead of a ban, we need more communication, education, respect, and cooperation between members of a lake. I've offered to meet with the association to discuss how we can all be better stewards on the water, and nobody wants to talk about that. All they want to talk about is a ban. Basically, people need to give wake boats their space to do their things, and people with wakeboards need to be more courteous. If they see a boatload of pontoons coming, they need to hold up, let them pass, and it can all work on a lake like this. If you guys vote yes to supporting this issue, I just want you to think about the storm it can bring to Becker County of problems and lakes and more people trying to push this agenda. There'll be problems from enforcement to more hate and harassment amongst people on a lake. in my opinion, this type of enforcement needs to be decided and regulated at a state level, just like jet ski enforcement was done way back when jet skis came out and were an issue. Again, at the end of the day, everyone on the lake needs to be more educated and have more respect to their neighbors, and knowing on the lake that everyone goes through different phases of life and has different enjoyments on the water. And that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time. I've got to take off and get to work, so
All
thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, next up, we have John Lean. Please come forward and state your name and address.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have two real issues.
Please state your name and address.
John Leon, 21330 Northeast Pickerel Lake Drive. The two issues that I really are concerned about is erosion. Pickerel Lake sitting in the valley like it does. We have very little wave issue from north, east to west or backwards. So a lot of times when the weather's bad, windy on other lakes, we get a lot of hauled-in boats. And I'll tell you, the erosion is terrible. On our particular spot, I used to be able to drive down a nice little gentle slope onto the water, onto the lake in the wintertime, across the lake, and took a couple miles off my commute. Now there's a 4-foot drop. And you could stand there and watch those waves. The waves were hot enough where they washed my glasses right off the dock. And you can see the material that's coming from the bank is all mud. And now there's about 8 inches of mud on the bottom of the lake, right where the dock and stuff sits. And the other issue that I really have is safety. My wife and I were fishing close to the island 2 years ago, and there were wake boats working out past us. And I usually try to be pretty careful with that and try to take on those wakes with the bow of the boat. And for some reason, I just lost track of it. And when I saw the wave come, and I told Joanne, this isn't going to be pretty, hang on. And it came this close to coming over the gunnel of our boat. 16-foot lund, 6 feet wide, and it damn near got swamped. So it's a real safety issue. And, I don't think that the Lake Association is trying to pick on anybody. All we want to do is make this thing safe for everybody that's out there. I guess that's all I have to say. There is another issue, may or may not be related to wake boats. There's a cable that runs across the lake on the bottom. Wake boat kicks off so much power to the bottom of the lake that it stirs up everything down there. Within the last 2 weeks, that cable has floated to the top for the second time. One of the residents there contacted Arvig, and it is their cable, and they told them to push it back down. I can't imagine it. Any questions for me? Thank you.
I don't. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, we have Sue Borstad.
I signed the wrong sheet.
Gotcha. Thank you. Sherry Miller. Gotcha. Thank you. Jim. Same?
No further comment.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Ledoux, Mark.
My name is Mark Ledoux. I live on 21801 Northwest Pickerel Lake Road. And I am a resident, obviously, of Pickerel Lake. I'm on the board as well. And I'm not going to talk to you about any particular issue because I haven't had a safety issue happen to me. I live on a very narrow part of the lake, so I don't get the wake boat. But I have talked to various other members, and I know it's a real issue. My biggest concern, well, not my biggest, one of the concerns I have is the environmental impact to the lake. Pickerel Lake, to me, has always been a large aquarium. There is no inlet, there is no outlet. Anything that is disturbed up from the bottom of the lake, it's up to the lake itself to cleanse itself. And most of our lakes around our area do have inlets and outlets that help with the cleansing process. So Pickerel Lake is a 333-acre lake. It does have rock. it's not lined in riprap. There is a lot of rock, but it's not lined in riprap, so there is a lot of erosion that I've seen since I've been there. So again, I don't want to repeat things. I think Joe was right. There is a storm. I think the storm is here. It already exists. And you talk to a lot of, just not Pickerel Lake, but a lot of lake owners around this area, you'll see that there is a problem. And we're just trying to protect what is happening at Pickerel Lake before it gets out of hand. So that's my statement. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, next up, we have Nancy Johnson. Please say your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Nancy Johnson, 20950 322nd Avenue. And my husband, Lauren Johnson, and I, we live on Pickerel Lake. We are on the east side of the lake, and we live in the widest section of the lake. Every summer, we have our grandchildren come from the East Coast, and they are ages 8 to 12, and they're with us for several weeks, and we swim every day. And one of the things my granddaughters will say, and they're all aware of what the wake boat does, because we ski, we're on the lake swimming, and they'll say, the wake boat's out there, let's go jump the waves. And they'll run down and jump the waves. And you know, those waves, they are coming from mostly the west side, all the way across the lake. And we're not like a Pelican Lake, where they have a lot of area for those waves to dissipate. Those waves are coming all the way across. And like my granddaughter said one time, Grandma, it's like being on the ocean. We're getting waves. So that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, next, we have Sandy, but you already spoke. Nicole.
And if you'd like.
All right, Nicole. Ledoux.
Good morning. I'm Nicole Ledoux, and I live at 21801 Northwest Pickerel Lake Road. And we have lived on the lake for the last 8 years, but been frequent visitors of the lake for 20 plus years. And so, you know, we moved out there because it is just a quiet, just pristine lake and kind people. And I think that remains today. And so hearing Joe's comments about being harassed and things like that, I am not aware of at all. And I'm saddened to hear that because I definitely don't think that that's a representation of most people on the lake. Our concerns are genuinely about the environmental impact and about the safety. It's just a matter of time, you guys, before something irreversible happens, already happening to the lake itself, as far as our fishing habitat, our overall water quality, what the churning up of that phosphorus is doing. That's just a reality. And you can call the University of Minnesota study extreme or whatever justifications you want to use to try to support a lesser reputable study. But the fact is that they spent 5 years doing a very independent, thorough study. And it cannot be debunked by a boating manufacturing industry for their benefit. You have the science. I don't need to rehash that. You have the recommendations. You understand the process that's been set out by the DNR and why we are here having to go through this. You are the gatekeepers. And we're asking that you open that gate and let us move this process forward to the authority that might be able to take some meaningful action to protect our lake and our people. I don't want to repeat I have all of the shared concerns that other people have expressed, but also just want to make sure to point out that Pickerel Lake does not belong to us, does not belong to any single person or family in this room. It is a public water, And we have many, many families, fishermen, that come out and enjoy our lake. We have people that haul kayaks to Pickerel Lake because of the beautiful shoreline and the calm waters. And I have personally witnessed numerous times and experienced myself in my kayak, in our huge pontoon, all different things. And when a wake boat is out, I shouldn't say the wake boats, because you know, it's my experience is I've only had one at a time. That's all it takes, you guys. And everybody is boogieing to the shore. Swimmers, kayakers, paddleboarders, a guy and his kid fishing in their little 14-foot Lund boat, which should be an ideal boat for our lake, cannot handle the waves. It's just sheerly dangerous. And so I'm not just here to advocate for people that live on the lake. This is a community issue, and someone is going to get hurt. And I'm not sure, you know, if it's going to be on our lake or another small lake in Becker County, but it's going to be in one of your districts. And then what are you going to say about it? So I just ask you to consider supporting this so that we can move it up the chain as the process calls for. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up we have Bill Tesh. State your name and address, please.
Good morning. I'm Bill Tesh. I live at 31604 Southwest Pickerel Lake Road. Lived there for 7 years and love the lake, love the neighbors. And I just want to state I have nothing at all against wake boats themselves or people who use them. Someday my grandkids will be teenagers and I'll probably have to spring for a wake boat at that time too. But I'll operate it on a different lake. It's simply impossible to deconflict with the wake boats when they're out there and you're out there trying to enjoy the lake yourself. It's just not possible to deconflict because of the narrow layout of the lake. I can share a couple of incidents. Last summer, there were several of us in our pontoons, 5 or 6 pontoons, which we had safely tied together with bumpers in between. And a wake boat came by and started to operate around us, probably within 200 feet. And the pontoons started rocking and slamming into each other. And I imagined what would have happened if someone had had their hand over the side of one of those 3,000-pound pontoons, or a leg, or a head, while that mayhem was happening. We flagged down the guy, and we were able to get him to go operate on the other side of the lake, where whoever was enjoying that part of the lake would have had to deal with that mayhem. So, I mean, it's just there would have been no place on the lake where that wake boat could have operated safely alongside of those other boats. Another time we were out with our grandkids, ages 0 to 4, on a lily pad. And of course, they're all wearing life vests, but still a little afraid of the water. And wake boat comes along, and we had a couple of them get knocked off the lily pad, and several of them were trying to keep on the lily pad. And again, there would have been no place we could have gone where that would have not been the case, where that would not have been happening. We had some friends here the other weekend. I was telling them, you know, this is actually was my nephew. I was explaining the situation. He's like, "Oh, you old stodgy people, you know, you just need to get with the times." So we're out on the water a little while later, and my nephew says, "Yeah, I think I kind of see what you're talking about here." And then later that day, we pulled our pontoon out, went over to Cotton, and then over to DL to enjoy the bigger lakes. And he said, "Oh, now I get it. Yeah, I see the wake boat over there, but we can just be over here." And yeah, okay, I get it now. I get you guys have a real issue on this lake. So look, this is not about good neighbors and bad neighbors. Everybody wants to be a good neighbor. I fully trust that the people who use wake boats do not intend any harm. I'm sure they do not. But the fact is that they do harm to the people who wish to enjoy the lake and to the natural environment, which you've heard testimony about today. So I urge you to allow this to move forward for the safety and common enjoyment of a wonderful natural resource in our county. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, last on the list, we have Chris.
No, I thought I was just signing in.
Gotcha. Yep, if you, I was going to ask if there's anybody else that did not sign up that wants to come on up and state your name and address, please.
I'm Amy Swanee, and my cabin is 20904 322nd Avenue. I've been coming to Pickerel for 62 years. I'm third generation, and now we have the fourth generation. And I feel bad for this guy. I've done my research on wake boats, and I bet he didn't even know. Because the people that sell wake boats, they don't inform people what can happen with the boats. So I feel bad, and I feel bad if anybody's bullying him, and they should stop. The fourth generation was up over 4th of July weekend with me, and the baby's not even 11 months. We were off that lake so fast. It was scary, and, you know, I'm hoping these kids are going to take over. And now they're thinking twice. And I don't want to lose a family home that my grandfather built in 1961 with some of the people you guys don't even know. And this is a lake of love, and the neighbors have always been gracious and kind and helped one another. And I'm afraid that that's going to go by the wayside if we don't, you know, either stop the wake boats, make rules around hours, something just to calm the waters, and, you know, keep it friendly. And yeah, we don't need those big boats on the lake. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Do you want to check online too?
Samantha Galloway, 21108 Northeast Pickerel Lake Drive. I just have 3 comments. I have a 26-year-old daughter, 28-year-old son-in-law, live in Chaska, own a wake boat. They operate on Lake Minnetonka. They do not bring their lake or their boat to Pickerel. They know that that's not the place for them. So as younger kids, they've been informed. Secondly, just a few weeks ago, our pontoon was swamped, shoved everything, just washed everything off the back end. And thirdly, I'm the one who in the last 4 days has watched a cable rise as I've paddleboarded. It runs from her hands and our kind of where our properties meet under the lake across to the access, and it's become where we've had to pull up our motor. Whether or not, I don't know what caused it. I just got a message from my husband, and Arvig has attached blocks on it and has sunk it back to the bottom of the lake. So I don't know what has caused that, but it became extremely unsafe where you could reach it with a paddle. So that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
I am not on Pickerel Lake. My name is Chuck Becker. I live on Big Sugarbush Lake. My address is 32655 Sugar Creek Road. Here to support the folks on Pickerel and maybe clear up a couple of things. The gentleman that owns the wake boat says that this analysis by the DNR, according to Captain Adam Block, apparently doesn't exist. I can assure you that it does. In fact, I will send Adam the DNR Excel spreadsheet that I received directly from Jason Meckel of the DNR. All the DNR did was an initial analysis of lakes in Minnesota. Using this criteria, inclusive criteria, a minimum wake sport zone of 50 acres, at least 500 feet from shore, and at least 20 feet in depth. They analyzed 1,235 lakes in Minnesota. You might say only 1,235 were the land of 10,000 lakes, right? We're the land of small lakes, folks. They didn't analyze lakes in the boundary waters. They didn't analyze lakes in the Tamarack Refuge. Those are controlled differently. But out of those 1,235 lakes,
723 of those lakes did not meet that criteria, 512 did. So this information does exist. Is it a regulation? Is it a rule? No, it's just information, good information that we can all use. Additionally, the gentleman with the wake boat said the University of Minnesota studies are extreme. And Barry, back on December 2nd, you kind of echoed that when that gentleman was here before. The U of M St. Anthony Falls Laboratory is a world-renowned research facility that's been in existence for over 85 years. Their studies aren't extreme. They're based upon solid science. If these folks were going to do something that was not correct, they'd be risking their own reputations, their own jobs, and the reputation of the University of Minnesota. They're not going to do that. So it is something to pay attention to. Are there other studies that say something less than 200 feet, or 500 feet, I should say, something that doesn't even mention depth? Absolutely. Those studies are financed by the boating industry. There are many other studies beyond just the University of Minnesota have come up with virtually the same conclusions, and sometimes greater distance from shore, sometimes greater depth than the U of M. So I would call the U of M study, if anything, conservative in what their conclusions have been. As far as injuries, safety, the folks have relayed what goes on typically in a small lake with wake boats out there. We've had serious injuries in Minnesota up to and including broken backs. We've had near misses where folks have had to jump out of tandem kayaks and out of fishing boats before the wake boat hit them. So this is something that is real. We have other lakes in this county that's studied by the U of M, or I should say by the DNR, excuse me, identified 24 lakes in Becker County that didn't meet that criteria. Are you going to be approached by 24 lakes? No, you're not, because some of those lakes have upwards of 30 wake boats, and folks in that lake, unlike Pickerel, are probably not going to push against those 30 wake boat owners. I've spoken to you about Big Sugar Bush. Fox Lake has talked to you. Steve Corbin was here last fall. Is it going to be an onslaught of lakes looking for help? I don't think so. But these lakes need protection. The people using the lakes need protection. And you guys, you're the only source we have right now. Should we have statewide rules? Absolutely. I'd love to see it. Then you guys wouldn't have to be in the middle of this. But you guys are the only option folks have right now. Preferably a county ordinance supported would be great, because then, as Sheriff Glander has said, he would enforce that. Enforcement's not a big deal in this case, because if the wake surfing is prohibited, it's pretty darn easy to tell if somebody's wake surfing. Pretty easy to tell. So I certainly support what the folks from Pickerel are telling you today. I would hope that you would consider this carefully. Barry, you got a boat, a wake boat, you're on a big lake, big cormorant, right? You're not on a little lake. And you know about wake boats. I think you know they don't belong on small, shallow, narrow lakes. And these lakes in this county are a huge economic driver for this county. So please consider that as well as you talk about this subject. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. Anybody else?
Morning.
Morning.
Rod Runquist, the address is 31600 Southwest Pickerel Lake Lane. My family bought property on Pickerel Lake in 1959. We've enjoyed that lake. First from 1964, so I have a first-hand account of the conditions, how they've changed over the years. Things remained relatively pristine and wonderful my whole life until in the late 80s and 90s when the building really started on the lake and things changed environmentally also with the weather. But I've seen the lake go from a very clean, pristine lake where we would see hundreds of thousands of spot-tail shiners go by the dock for minutes from top column of water to the bottom, and we don't see any of that anymore. My biggest concern is the sedimentation that's happening in the lake, the vegetative growth that's taking over. It's only going to be a matter of time. That used to be a hard bottom lake that we could walk on and enjoy. It's now got muck and sediment that's building up on the bottom all the way, to close to shore, 2 to 3 feet from shore, something that's never been seen. The change has been, I would say, in the last 7 years, it's much, much faster than it was ever before that. And I'm just seeing all this proliferation of the vegetation in the lake. We're going to be losing so much more of the usable water space on that lake, and the more vegetation we get in there, it's going to be increasing the water temperature even more. When these boats go by, I see the water getting stirred up, and it's releasing all that nutrients in and feeding those weeds. I didn't realize how dangerous they were safety-wise for all the other people, but I'm just saying from a firsthand perspective, the last 7 years has been quite a change in this lake. And I think it's incumbent upon us to do something about it now before this is too late. I mean, we have responsibilities here. And it's something that there's a time and a place, mostly a place for these boats, no doubt about it. They look like they're a lot of fun. And if I was about 40 years younger, I'd probably enjoy them a lot more. But Pickerel Lake, unfortunately, is not one of those places. And I think it's our responsibility for the lake and our future and the state. We don't want to become the state with 10,000 swamps, We want to keep our lakes as well as we can now. So I'd appreciate anything that you can do to help us win this cause. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room to speak? Come on up.
I'll be very short. My name is Marty Jensen. I'm 32256 Southwest Pickerel Lake Road. I've been a resident on the lake for 28 years. As somebody stated, there is no outlet or inlet on the lake. Over the time I've lived out there, I've seen the water go up and down 9 feet. So when the water goes up, yes, you get some erosion. All boats will erode the shore. I'm not in favor of banning wake boats, but the petition that is in front of you says wake surfing. They're not saying wake boats. So are you still going to allow wake boats, but just not wake surfing? So you can tube behind these big boats? What are they asking for? That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, if you make it very brief.
Very brief. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the action that is being contemplated is to not allow the filling of the ballast. I mean, a wake boat without the ballast filled is just a ski boat. And it's not to allow that particular usage.
That is what is in the proposed ordinance that was presented to us. Yes. Yep. All right. Anybody else in the room? Anybody else online? Or anybody online that wants to speak? Okay. Then we will, I'm not going to close testimony because it's not a public hearing, but what is the wishes of the board?
Well, Madam Chair, I don't think it's going to come to a surprise to anyone in this room that I do not support this. I've said all along I would support a 300-foot setback for that activity from shoreline, from shore. Even by the university's own projection, this lake is suitable for surfing. It has the blue area in there at a 500-foot. I think 500 feet is I'm not going to say too much, but I think if a person was going to look at this, I think a 300-foot starting point would be something to analyze on these lakes. And I think it was mentioned a few times today that these lakes are changing. The boats are bigger, not surf boats, but pontoons. How many people thought you'd see triple 500 motors on pontoons? If you're aware, there was an accident on a river, not, I think in Michigan. My neighbor has a 600 horsepower motor on a pontoon, my next door. So boats are bigger, waves are bigger. I think if you're worried about waves, I think you have to, I mean, I don't think you can single out one boat, one activity. I think you have to look at all boats over 20 feet then. If that's your goal is to stop this, everything on the lake from eroding and causing waves, then you have to set a limit on the boat size and the motor size. And I don't think you'd have much support. It's easy to single out one group that's not what you do. Let's get rid of that group and I'll have less activity on the lake. And they do produce larger waves and everything, but I'm on a lake and I paid specific attention to waves coming in. And there was boats going by with tubes on, with water skiing, and those boats, when they come close to my shore, produce big waves also. If a surf boat is kept out farther, those waves, I mean, I think we all acknowledge those waves are bigger. If those are kept out farther, those waves will be less when they get to shore. So my opinion is, and I think I've stated this, I would support a 300-foot setback for the activity of surfing on lakes. That's what I would support. I would not support a ban on lakes that have a suitable area for it.
If that would be the case, how would that be enforced? Just out of.
Well, there's a current law for jet skis that have to be 150. It would be the same as that. Your enforcement agents would look at the distance, and they have binoculars, they have range finders, they have equipment that could help them with that determination. Now, again, these gentlemen and ladies that are doing the enforcement aren't looking to write tickets. They're looking to make the day enjoyable for everyone. So I'm sure they would have contact in it and probably try to keep them off that or make them aware. So that's my. The boats are all getting bigger, and when I went out on fishing when I was a kid too, when there were other boats, you have to know what your surroundings are. And I remember seeing back when I was a kid that when a big boat went by us, you have to know it that you go right into that wave. Waves have always been big on those bigger boats. These were back in the day when I was in the 14-foot Lund, and you're aware of that. Also, when I was a kid, we didn't have lily pads, we had inner tubes, and I spent every day I could, and every time a wave came in, that was the best part of the day. We wanted waves coming in when you're a kid to play on the waves. Now as an adult, when I sit on the shore, and I don't like waves coming in, but it doesn't hurt me. I'd prefer it be nice, calm, and beautiful scenery. So there is a conflict, there's no question, in the busiest times of day. Again, this issue, if there was a statewide, I think they would look at a setback similar to what I would consider. Now, as the petition is before us, it's just a no. I don't know if we can amend it or want to amend it at this time, but I'm not supporting it. So that's my opinion.
I'll give you my opinion. I'm not supporting a ban. I don't think it's the right thing. I do support having guidelines. Let's say it's 300 feet. I don't believe though that is our. I believe the state needs to come and set a distance. We can do something like that if the sport feels like that's the thing to do, and I would support that. But I'm not in favor of banning wake boats on lakes that in this whatever study this was that determined that there's area enough in this lake to do that. So.
Phil or Richard, anything to add?
Well, I see both sides of this, and it's hard for me. I think the state should do something about this, and that's for the guy who trusts the University of Minnesota. They're full of baloney. I deal with them all the time, and they are. I do septic systems, and they're calling water table 30 feet above the lake in the sand, and they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm not saying that this study is wrong, but I have no faith in them at all. And I don't know. I do know the right thing would be the state to handle this. It should be a statewide thing. The DNR, that's their job. I'm not a DNR specialist. I'm on a small lake. We don't have any wake boats, but we got jet skis and we got big speed boats. And they're out there just, disturbing everything, the waves and everything. And that's not my thing, but it is their thing. And so, although I'm not pleased with it, like Barry says, I'm not pleased with them, but they're young people and I'm old and they're having fun and that's their enjoyment of the lake. Now, I don't want anything dangerous happening to anybody. That's a concern for me, but I think that the state of Minnesota is really should be the leader on this because there's a big economic impact here and there's people who spend a lot of money for these boats and we have a dealership now. And so it's hard. It's a hard one for me and I don't know where I'm at on it, to tell you the truth. I'm trying to learn more about this, and I'm getting different stories from both sides. So,
Yeah, I think I agree. I see both sides. I do think that this ideally, if we want to talk ideally, it should come from the state. It should be. If not an ordinance, at least better guidance. However, I'm not a lake person. I live in lake country, but I am not a lake person. I've never dealt with wake boats, but I would be in support of whatever the board
Madam
is in
Chair,
support of.
you said this should come from the state. Well, the state would defer to the DNR probably on this, and the DNR
is the
is
state.
telling, well, right, but they're putting it back on us directly. So everybody says they want it to come from the state, but the state has said, we want you to go first. So you don't like that point?
What I mean by it should come from the state is legislatively.
Okay.
Like they should
I don't think
legislatively make some.
the DNR does not have support from the legislation to mandate, to make these law changes.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Well, Madam Chair, as far as this looks now, as far as the ban, and as I'm reading the surface water use for the ban, I would not support this as it is right here either.
So our option is to make a motion to move forward with this and submitting it to the DNR, setting a public hearing. Our motion, we could also choose to do nothing. Or if there is support of the board, to consider, instead of a ban, doing, I don't remember, what'd you say, 300 feet from shore?
100 yards, 300 feet. It's unfortunate that we're put in this position. We don't have paid experts to tell us what's exactly right and what's exactly wrong. I will tell you my opinion of this, a quick opinion of the study that you did. It's privately funded by Lake and River Coalition too. So it is, you can say it's unbiased, but I don't know any study that's unbiased. Every study has a point of view. This study that, if you watch the video of the cameras underwater, well, that was in a bottom of a lake. That had such loose sediment on the bottom that you couldn't even put the camera on the bottom of that because it was all mud and muck. They had to elevate the camera to get that because that's how loose that sediment was. So, and I completely agree. That's a terrible place to have any boat traffic on that lake because it's churning up so much. So, but then you have to look at what do other boats doing to that? We're singling out one usage. I followed on Lake Sally over the 4th. There was a tri-tune pontoon that went across it. If you're familiar with it, there's a sandbar area that splits the two parts of the lake. And it was about, I don't know how deep we were, but that thing was churning up, completely brown churn, just like the video showed. And I'm like, every boat does this. Every boat does this. So we're not experts in this, and I don't think many people in the room are experts in this, but without that knowledge, to ban something, in my opinion, it would be an overstep of what we know and what we should be doing. Again, I think every surfboat operator there that's reasonable would say 100 yards away from a moored boat or a shoreline is reasonable, and they should be that distance. But I would prefer, I guess I would prefer having it not altering theirs, and if they're not satisfied with that, then with 100 or 300 feet, I think that should come from the group and say, hey, we know that the board doesn't support banning, but could we ask for a 300 foot? So I would choose to do nothing till you have a application stating that.
So our direction to the Pickerel Lake Association is,
If you would like to,
at this point, the board does not support a ban, but would consider a 300-foot from shore
Or more.
or more.
moored
Boats, moored boats.
I would think that, and I don't know, I would like to do a little research on excluding uninhabited islands. So there's I think an island on that point.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not familiar with it, but I would like to review that prior to, I just want to state that I would like to know that what options there are considering that.
Madam Chair, if Commissioner Nelson, if that does move forward here, I worry about the sheriff and how is that going to be enforced? And I think we need to address that with whatever that looks like and get his statement on what that looks like, because I can see somebody, taking video, and then what are you going to, are you going to have some way to have to measure if it's how many feet it is out, and was it in whatever mode they say?
And I think part of it too, and this is what I've learned from talking with Chuck and other people, is part of the hope is that when there is an ordinance in place, that people will just follow it, right? Like that you will have signage, how that signage would be paid for. I would assume that would have to, fall back on the county.
Well, it's public access. That'd be a DNR access there. That the DNR would have to, this would be.
So the state. So the state would, but anyways, that would be the hope, is that just by virtue of having an ordinance that it would be a deterrent.
Well, the city has an ordinance or has signs down on the city beach here that says no dogs on the beach, and they don't enforce that. I've asked them, I said, why do you have the sign up then if you're not going to enforce it? I
think
that's another conversation, but that's why we got to get the sheriff in here, and if this does go, what's that going to look like? Because if someone's going to call the sheriff and said, hey, your county did this ordinance, why aren't you enforcing it? So we need to have an answer for that.
Two boats, right?
We have four
boats.
We have four.
Well, we have 4 boats, but how many boats are typically out on a?
Three.
2
or 3.
And
well, let's not get into that
discussion. They're
discussion.
going to be.
No, we already.
But they can't expect to be on Pickerel Lake every weekend either, just because we have an ordinance.
I think they should be out on Pickerel every weekend. I wouldn't mind that a bit.
You don't want them on your leg. You can put your feet on your boat.
I think this ordinance would be enforced just like any other law or ordinance. Currently jet skis have to be 150 feet away from docks. And in the past, we've had 150-foot no-wake zones because of high water. I think it's, if there's someone that's continually law enforcement has to get involved. And usually that's just a nice nudging and people comply. I'm not one of those sometimes that likes a nice nudging either, but.
So if I will say what I believe I'm hearing is the direction of the board, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, is the direction of the board is right now we are not in support of a ban. If the Lake Association would want to consider a 300-foot, do they have to start over?
This is the first step.
This,
Or is it-
this is the first step. If you wanted to direct that, we could, or Kyle and or myself could look at this ordinance and look at a modification and bring it forward again. But it's entirely up to the board.
And I think just because we're considering a 300-foot ban, we would have to go through the public notice, public feedback Doesn't necessarily mean that there is going to be an ordinance, but it would be something that we would.
Sorry. I was just
Have to
going to
vote
add
on.
one, in my conversations with the DNR, I just want to make sure that the board understands as well. If the board so chooses to move this forward to the DNR, it's not a given that the DNR would agree to this application. At that phase, they could also deny this. And then it would not come back for us to do, the ordinance piece of this. So
Sure.
I just.
Do we know if they've done that before?
I don't know the answer. I do know a partial. I know that things have been considered and things have been denied for the application not being fully submitted and missing information.
Yeah, and just to clarify what Carrie and I met with Captain Adam Block, I believe it was last Thursday. You're not amending anything. You're adopting this. So what he told us is if you were to push this forward, their name will be scrubbed from this application and you will replace their name.
Their
So
name
all the
being Pickerel Lake
Yes.
Association.
And you are adopting all of that information as your own.
Because we
so
are
it'd
the
be-
only authorized and government unit that can move this forward.
So I guess my question is, we are not supporting this document at this time, so we would not support it, or or do we have the ability to amend anything at this time?
Yeah, according to them, absolutely, because you're going to be submitting it as Becker County, not as the Lake Association.
Okay.
So you can, at any time, you can submit.
Well, I'm just curious. It doesn't have to go back. It doesn't have to go back.
No.
But we are not supporting what's being proposed. So
right.
I don't know that we want to start doctoring it at this time during the board meeting, in my opinion.
And I just wanted to make it clear to you that if you're adopting their language and you're supporting that language, then essentially you're making it your own. Is the way he.
It's a Becker County
made it to
ordinance,
us,
not a
yes.
Pickerel Lake.
Well, and he said,
It's
he's like,
a Becker County ordinance on Pickerel Lake.
right.
Yes.
They would not accept it in its current form. It would have to, that Lake Association name would have to be scrubbed and all of that. That's the exact terminology he used.
Correct.
Well, it's my opinion that we are not moving forward with this, and if we want to, I would say if the Lake Association wants to consider a lesser proposal, that coordinate with Kyle or Carrie and bring that forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other wishes of the board regarding this? Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
For coming and voicing your.
Do you want to take a break since people may be
Yeah, let's take a
sitting?
break. We're going to take a 5-minute break. 10:17. To move on, we have Carrie's report. Did you have anything additional to add?
To the report? No, I
To
do
your
not.
report?
Nope, I'll just give you some updates that I'm aware of. Just for the board, and I may have said this before, we do have our first negotiation scheduled. I believe it's for August 25th. So happy day. We get to start that process, and we're hoping
Is that
some
with
of
LELS?
It is. It is. So it'll be our initial meeting. So I'm hoping that we'll have continued scheduling. I just wanted to remind the board that the policy conference is coming up next month.
Oh, yeah.
was going to mention that.
Oh, you were, oh, I read your mind. So it is coming up in September and it's being, yes, it's being, so if you'd like to attend this year, I don't know if all of you know, but it's, I believe in the past it was in Alexandria, is that
There's
correct?
always been at Arrowwood and they switched venues.
And they did, and I wanted to make mention of that. It's in Bemidji
At the Sanford
this
Center,
year.
right?
Yes, so hopefully better accommodations for that.
And the dates and.
16th to the 18th?
Correct. Yeah,
Right before my birthday?
Yeah, the
September?
16th is, I think, the registration, and then later, I think it's the rural counties meeting.
Oh, yep.
In addition, last week I was at a Minnesota Association of County Administrators, and the topics were interesting, and there's some of the same topics that we've done some discussion here in our county as well. There's discussion on the AI and the use of that, around that, as well as there was a lot of discussion around counties and how they manage data requests, because the data requests are coming in and some of those are generated by AI, and how to manage that. And internally here through departments, we've had some demonstrations by different vendors. So my hope is that we can look at how are we managing that and to ensure that we're responding according to the statute like we should.
I wish the state or the federal government would address the mass requests. I mean, that are just made to harass and to.
The data request?
Yes, because it's significant time and energy.
It is,
to
and
do,
it's getting, yes, it's getting to be more and more and more. And I'm seeing that. And then, so we are, again, with some of the bigger departments, keeping in mind, if there's a data request, I'll just use human services for sake of example. If there's a big data request there's a lot of time that goes into redaction and what's public and what's private information, what can be released, and depending on who the requester is, et cetera. So, and again, even through administration, there's been, and the auditor treasurer's office, I know and highway is another big one. So it's getting to be a lot. So more to come on that issue. I was on a call last week. I was invited as a stakeholder for M-State. They are looking at the branding of M-State campus here and the Wadena and Moorhead as well.
And Fergus?
Fergus. I don't recall. May have been.
6 of them.
Yeah, so those are the main ones that we talked about anyway. So M-State is looking at, they were just getting input from those stakeholders on the branding of that college system, and there was a lot of, I don't know, 10 or less people on that call, and so input was provided. And, from my comment or my standpoint, I focused more on our local community college, our local two-year college here, and just really indicated that we as a community really are just kind of holding to see what the sustainability of this particular college is and what is the future of the whole entire system. So I did not get any further answers, but of course it's always a concern for our community if this college is no longer, doing the educational components, and there were, members there from, area business, et cetera. So it was an interesting conversation. So I would expect that more to come, on that. Any questions for me? That's really all I have. The main focus, well, I said it was all, and I had one more thing. So my main focus has been on budgets. We have been working internally here, meeting with departments, going through, the budget process that we have gone through. We meet again tomorrow internally. So I mentioned yesterday in the finance meeting that I'll be looking. It's been a bit difficult to kind of hone in on a work session date here in August for the board. I know you're all happy about that, to come in and talk about budgets, but there are some, we're looking at different options of ideas and things that the board has provided to me. So I think it would be wise to look at a work session with regards to some of those issues, as well as, capital budgeting and I have updated lists from facilities that I want the board to take a look at. In addition to the work session, I think a good topic would be for Cody to come in to talk about housing, and potentially, if we bring that in-house, what that may look like as well. So the board can ask questions and have that opportunity as well. So now I'm done. That's all I have.
I do think that we should have a work session sooner rather than later, just given, we have to set our preliminary levy next month already.
Correct.
So I do think a work session prior to that would be good. So we don't have to do it now, but.
Correct. So I'll just work on some potential dates, and I'll schedule you all for at least 8 hours, and I know you'll be happy with that.
And you can put your half hour in between.
Correct.
Okay.
So you'll get back to us on that, or?
I will. I was already looking at some dates prior to this, so I will, I was really trying to hone in on an off-board week, but we may run out of time and how other things are scheduled, so I'll
Off-board
do my best.
Tuesdays, the rest of the month I'm out of town, both Tuesdays.
Yeah, I know there's conflicts, so.
We have to set the levy on the 15th, so we could do the 8th for a work session.
September,
Yeah.
Thursday. I was thinking more August, just because of, in case. But anyway, more to come on that. I just wanted to alert you to that.
Okay. Next up, we have Mary.
Good morning, Commissioners. 1 week from today is primary election day. Just want to assure that everyone, the state and county elections are secure. We have early voting going on currently 8 to 4:30 at the auditor's office. Anyone with questions can call or go to the county website for more information. Once all of the results are tabulated, we're required to do a canvass, which is a summary of the county elections within 2 to 3 days. So we're looking for 2 commissioners to volunteer to attend August 13th. We have said 3 o'clock, but that's negotiable. In the second floor of the courthouse to canvass. Our results are then sent to the state for the official canvass.
What time did you say?
3 o'clock.
And it can't be anybody in the race.
You cannot be on the ballot.
Yes.
So if you want to pick, you can have 2 commissioners. Usually we pick the same commissioners for both primary and general, which will be in November, which would exclude the 2 commissioners who are on the ballot, but that's a board decision.
Madam Chair, I could do it not at 3 o'clock, though. I could do it a little earlier than that.
Richard, you want it, or do you want me to do it?
You know I don't want it.
I wanted to give you the option, Richard. We have a courthouse committee scheduled for 10. Any way we could pair that up so it could be right after
Earlier?
that?
Like 11?
11:30?
Will you be done with courthouse by 11?
Yeah, I don't think there's much on the agenda at courthouse, so 11 o'clock would work better.
We'll try. 11:30, you're thinking?
Well,
11:30?
I don't think courthouse is going to last long.
No, we have to tabulate everything from the 11th and be
Right.
done by the 13th
At 11.
at 11. 11 o'clock or 11:30? Give me a time, I'll take it.
I'll do 11. I don't think our courthouse committee will last more than a half an hour, so I'm still
Okay.
thinking there, but if we
11
can shoot-
o'clock on the
11
13th,
a.m.
so we
and me,
have,
Barry and I will be there.
yep. Nelson.
Is there any other city or township officials that are going to be on this one?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, the court administrator has to be there, the mayor of Detroit Lakes.
Right, because there's races in those areas, correct?
Right, not on this
Primary.
primary. Primary is just the Republicans, Democrats, and then local races.
Right.
The city will be in the November ballot, schools and city.
That's what I was asking, what
Yep.
other.
That won't be till November.
Because usually the city is involved when they have, and then,
Yep.
They don't have a primary.
and depending upon which one we pull,
Mm-hmm, or two.
or two.
So we
Okay,
need.
do we need a motion,
yeah.
or are we just good with the names?
I've got Nelson and Hanson, 11 o'clock on the 13th in the second floor boardroom. I'll
right.
send out a reminder. Thank you.
Okay.
Do we need a
Thanks, Mary.
motion for that?
I think it would be cleaner
It's
if
an
you.
act- it's a memorandum for
Okay.
action. So
I'll
I'll make a motion to approve what Mary just said.
Commissioner Hanson and Nelson for,
I'll
Yeah.
second. I guess I'm the one that's gonna,
Yeah.
any
You have-
further
you have to
discussion?
vote, so.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion
Madam
carried.
Chair, just to clarify per diem, I mean, won't get it because I have another meeting, but
Yeah.
Phil should get a,
I'm fine, that's fine.
but I think those are,
Per diem and mileage.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mary. All right, next up, we
we
have,
probably have another
Jim.
meeting to,
hello, Jim?
Good morning, Commissioners. One item for you, we have a small amendment we'd like to do to our 5-year plan. If you recall, we set the 5-year plan in December and we choose the projects and you allow us to go to bid for those for 2026. However, we would like to add a project, so that's why I wanted to bring this forward to you to approve that. We had scheduled work in 2027 on County Road 20, which is paving work. However, we would like to do some preliminary grading work and graveling on that road so we get a better product by doing some subgrade corrections and placing the gravel this year. We don't do it right before we pave the road and have all those trucks and with the bituminous running over it, and we just get a better project. So we're asking approval to advertise for that project and amend our 5-year plan. Estimate on this is about $250,000, and this will be funded with our smart tax.
Madam Chair, I don't think this is not a new project. This is just a,
We're splitting the project.
It's new. It's escalate, or it's making the project sooner than, it's making it in 20, part of it in 26 rather than 27. So I mean, one could argue that this, if we would have stated that this project is a candidate for taxes, it might not even be here if we would have worded right. But this is just letting the public know we are going to do this project in 26 rather than, and start
Part of
in
the
26 rather than 27. So,
Jim, this is 120, right? Did you
Yeah,
say
100,
20? You said
120.
120, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve 08261A.
I will second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And just, so it is coming out of smart money, and I did go back and look, we're 6 months in, from November, we're 6 months in, we're tracking $80,000 ahead of schedule.
Every
ahead
month
of
except
where we
one
were.
was higher.
Every month but one was higher. So we're tracking ahead, so, and we have it. So I think it's a good thing to do. Plus, to set it up over the winter is smart. So thanks, Jim, for bringing it forward.
I did ask Jim to maybe highlight some sign issues because I had a complaint, there were some signs, political signs pulled. And I talked to, I think Jim can elaborate, but what I've come to the consensus is we're mowing ditches now. And those signs that are on the road right away in the first 10 feet, not in a mowed lawn area, are being pulled because we're going to be mowing. They're usually not associated with a driveway. They're just sticking on the side of the road, so we can mow those. And I think that's a good, if they're on I think I talked to Jonah, he said if they're back on an approach, not even associated with the house, just a field approach, that if they're back 10, 12 feet, they're not pulling them, but we need to mow that first swath of road right away, so.
I know the state has been out.
Is that, I just wanted, Jim, do you want to clarify anything else there? Or?
No, that's correct. We started mowing on Monday, so we, signs in mowed, right-of-way areas, people keep their yards nice in front, they can be there, but if they want to put them. I understand, the grass is tall, so they like to get the signs right out on the road, but we don't want to wreck our equipment and it would destroy the signs. We pull those and we bring them back to our shop. They're back behind by the dumpsters. They will stay there for a week or two. If they're not picked up, then they're going in the garbage.
And just to point out, we all know that putting any sign in the road right away is not legal. We are not going, if the ditches are mowed and they go back, we're not necessarily going to pull them again, but they're still not legal and we could, but we're not probably looking to do that. So just want to get our ditches. I think that's fair. Did the commissioner think that's a fair approach? I mean, it's.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, do we vote on one?
Nope. Nope. All right.
Oh, we didn't vote?
No, you just started talking, Barry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay, now I'll
Motion
reiterate
carried.
what I just said. Jim, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. All right, next up we have Tara.
Madam Chair, could we maybe send out to all the candidates so that that if there are signs that they see missing, to contact the highway department or where they are? Because I don't want them to think that, I mean, they're not destroyed, they're just taken and stored and they can come and get them and put them up somewhere else if they want. Tara.
Good morning. I
Morning,
have one
Tara.
item before you. It's Resolution 08261B. This is to regrade the transfer station truck driver position and compact truck driver positions from a current grade 5 to a grade 6. Reasoning for this is we have had postings for the transfer station truck driver since May 20th with only a total of 2 candidates. We had gotten an acceptance from one candidate, but they then later declined the position because the pay was not where they needed it to be.
Did this go through Tessa?
Yes.
So there was a separate conversation with Tessa about the current market positioning of positions, and transfer station was discussed at length. She is out of town from all of last week until Wednesday of this week, and we are running into significant issues that is stopping labor out there. So she has not heard about the regrading for recruitment purposes. There was a separate conversation where she has previously stated that the transfer station truck drivers for their duties is not the same grade as the highway. She did maintain that position when we previously had spoke. At that time, we still had an acceptance from a candidate. They had not rescinded that at that time, so we were not talking about the recruitment issues at that point. In the past, she has supported regrading positions for recruitment purposes.
Madam Chair, Carrie, would you, I would like to, if to move forward on this, I would like the Tessas and the DDA's kind of consensus or approval of this. Is that something, a condition for approval if we make?
I certainly think you could say pending her
Pending
agreement
DDA's.
to this. I would mimic what Tara said. We're, focused on the job duties and in comparison to the highway and how we were able to recruit similar positions.
I mean, I just want to make sure we are.
We don't want to step outside. I certainly understand that.
Yeah.
So.
Madam Chair, with that, I will approve Resolution 8261B with the approval of DDA.
With recommendation.
With the recommendation of DDA.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on 1B? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have planning and zoning. Come on up, Kyle.
Good morning. I have a surface water ordinance. No, I'm kidding. I have planning commission recommendations from July 29th for your consideration. First being Brendan Matson and Deborah Matson requesting a conditional use permit to operate a gunsmith business to include retail sales of used firearms.
Just a note on him, on this one, he did say at, his primary focus is really going to be on gunsmithing, fixing guns, not necessarily selling, but if the opportunity arises, he would sell it, so.
His work, basically, if someone were to walk through the door with something that was a good deal, he would purchase it
Yep.
and flip
Yep.
it.
But no, no gun shooting, fire ranging on site. And it was recommendation to approve. So,
I'll make a motion to.
all right, Richard made a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Phil, second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Best here.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Second applicant, Great Plains Tower LLC, on behalf of John Paul Greaser, requesting a conditional use permit for a 190-foot guide tower with a 9-foot lightning rod and accompanying equipment. Just a little bit of discussion on this. There is a public water setback of 2,640 feet from any public water unless there is a finding that there's no practical alternative location outside of that distance. This is within that half a mile of a public water. There is included in the co-location statement basically a sentence saying that there was no other towers that could equip or accommodate this antenna within a 2-mile radius. So that statement would be satisfied in my opinion. The second one I want to discuss is going back, especially after the conversation that you had this morning with potentially having to abandon a tower, that a financial guarantee from Great Plains be issued to Becker County for this, or a bond be in place for the removal of this tower of $67,500, with that same caveat that we will review those bond requirements. I have a plan to do that next week with the advisory committee. That will be one of the topics on that agenda. So if we could mimic what we did previously, and that language is specific to this,
Kyle, previously we said that if we didn't review it within a year, or was it 2 years, and then the bond would go away?
right.
Yeah.
So basically what that year did is gave us a time frame to get something reviewed and looked at here.
Okay.
I just wanted to have that discussion again because it was relevant this morning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But, so, and then there's also a requirement that a natural environment protection action study be filed with our office. Those don't typically happen until after the tower's been approved, just so they're not accruing that cost beforehand. So if you would entertain I guess a similar motion would be to concur with the addition of filing a copy of a Natural Environment Protection Act study with planning and zoning prior to the erection of the tower, lighting, and a financial guarantee from Great Plains LLC of $67,500 in a form of a bond to ensure funds to remove the tower to be reviewed within 1 year to see how long the bond will be required. If not reviewed within a year, the requirement for bond will be eliminated.
All right, do we have
Did you say something about lighting? For 190 feet, the lighting requirements?
says a 9-foot lightning round?
No, lighting.
Oh, lighting, sorry.
This basically says prior to the erection of the tower and lighting. But if you want to, I know that is something that you typically add as a
I always
condition.
want a lit tower. It would be flashing lights. I don't know if they're standard or.
I think if you can speak to that. Yep.
Yeah.
Under a certain height, they're not required.
Brian Van Assen, I'm authorized agent for Great Plains Towers and John Paul Greaser. Typically, anything under 200 feet doesn't have to be lit. However, the FAA study that was submitted, this tower will be lit because it's proximity to Detroit Lakes Airport.
And I was going to ask that and make that part of the agreement that it will be a lit.
Yeah, it came to a surprise to us because usually under that typically doesn't. But yes, we will comply with the FAA.
We have been asking for all towers to be lit.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so do we have a motion to concur with what Kyle said with the addition of a condition to light the tower?
I think the condition to light the tower is in the.
Most.
Correct. In the filing, there's a
filing.
Okay.
Because FAA required it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Phil, I learned that from Dave because there was a tower going up and he wanted, down in Meyer, and he said they're not required under a certain height and it's 200 feet to be lit.
All right, next one we have,
William Jacobson on behalf of Louise Ness. Request a conditional use permit to operate a metal sales business. Just to elaborate on that, their plan is to have a shipping container on site south of Highway 10 near the cemetery there on 190th. Basically, once you purchase the iron from them, you'll be issued a one-time unique access code to this container. You can pull in there at any time and pick up your iron. It's kind of explained to us,
it's kind of a, I think it happens a lot down in the south, I think is what they said, down in southern Minnesota, or southern United States.
Do a lot more of it, and it's a good thing, because right now, if you need iron, you gotta go to Woburn or.
Where is it at?
And Woburn is closing, I think.
190th off of,
high-end, so-
just west of Audubon. Right there right there by the cemetery,
It's right on one.
bordering Highway 10
South
and,
of 10 then?
yeah.
Yep.
So,
He did say that he had talked to the, was it the feed store in Audubon? That if they needed. Elevator, thank you. That if there was a need for a large load where they would have to be there, that they have arranged for them to be able to load and unload at the elevator. But otherwise, this really is just a 24/7. You get a code, yep, you go there and you go into your little box, take out what you want, and you can go at any time of the day. So seemed pretty innovative.
I didn't follow this one.
yeah.
And I think the only condition that the planning commission said was signage,
Damage to
not
the
in the
road.
right of way,
And
right?
possible damage to the road, too.
Oh, yes,
The
yes, yes,
township,
yes.
Luke
Oh,
Yep,
Langford.
that's what it was.
Yeah, what I have is approve the application with the condition the applicant works with Audubon Township to repair the road if
Yes.
and when any significant damages are caused.
So that's the recommendation. Do you have any motion or other
I'll
further
make a
discussion?
motion to approve.
I'll second.
All right, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Erickson.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to us? Or do you just come to visit us?
The agenda, and I got sidetracked this morning on open mic.
Come on up. Love to hear what you have to say.
I guess most of you know me. Dwayne Erickson, I'm your watershed appointee, along with the Clay County Commissioners. And I don't show myself very often, so I've got some information, and it's the time of the year when the levee gets set. May I?
Yep.
Yes.
Just some information. You know, I've got a number, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one short. I'll share it. Okay, thanks. We could ask questions right up front, meaning we could go through it. I apologize for the crudeness of it. But you're reading it.
So for those of you that don't know, Wild Rice Watershed, half the tax goes to the Red River Watershed Management District, correct?
Right.
And half stays at the Wild Rice. Unlike Buffalo Red Watershed, which pulled out of the agreement with the Red River Watershed Management Board probably 15 to 20 years ago, somewhere in that range, I would assume.
Something like that, yeah.
So all their money that's taxed in Buffalo Red goes directly to them. There's advantages and disadvantages to each. But just as you see here, the RRWMB, half the money goes there, and then they distribute it back for larger projects benefiting the watershed, the whole watershed as a whole. So just a little tidbit of history on it, but.
Well, page 1 is the Wild Rice Watershed balance sheet. Page 2 is the Red River Management balance sheet. And they've got a lot of cash. And then the farmland, I wrote in there approximately 500 acres that's rented out. And that generates 107,000 plus in the next 3 years for income.
And when they bought that farmland, it was highly controversial when they're buying farmland for a potential project, but
Right.
the project wasn't approved and.
Yeah, it turned
It
into
hasn't
kind of
been
a mess. I think they used the wrong money and had to pay it back, and they got it straightened out anyway, so.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Nelson, so is this the Wild Rice watershed that meets up in Ada, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But the page one is to show you what kind of cash balance and what kind of equity they have in real estate that's paid for. Page two is the Red River Watershed Management Board, which, like Barry said, takes half of the, and page, we'll get to that dollar amount here in one of the next pages, but they get half of the tax levy and they spend it how they feel. And they do have a lot of cash also. And if I question them on it, they would tell me that it's designated for projects, but I don't think anything has been proved to move forward. Page three gets in more detail, some history, meaning it shows you that the levy and it shows you the ditch tax. It shows you the half that goes to the red board and the half that goes to, I call it the red board, I apologize, and how it's divided up. So you got 13 and you got 22 and you got 25 and you got the proposed 27 and how that money would come in. And I'm looking for a way, in my opinion, as a board member, would like to see something that would save the taxpayers some money. I mean, they do have a lot of cash. They get grant money. I've read it, but it's in the seven figures. I mean, there's plenty of funding there.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a tax break if you're okay with me pushing that agenda.
You answered, you do not answer to us, so that's.
Well, you appointed me though, but.
Well, no one else will take the job, so.
Okay. And I've been doing it quite a few years, and my term is up in April. Thanks for the opportunity. I don't want to do this anymore.
You got to find a replacement if you quit.
That's what everybody tells me, but nobody's listening.
Then you got to stick it out.
And I'm kind of the Lone Ranger a lot of times, meaning you could probably find a more effective board manager. You know what I mean?
No, you don't want a board to all be yes, yes, yes. You want discussion, and even if you're at the losing side, you brought concerns up that people need to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm in for anything when you're lowering taxes and they got this kind of money in the bank.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I'm
push
in
it.
favor of you trying to do that.
Yep.
And keep asking questions as we go through. We get to the last page probably is where I'm going with this, and what I'm asking or what I'm sharing is, on the bottom of the page, it says August 12th agenda item. What do we do with the $107,000 plus cash rent? And the reason I'm bringing it up, and I brought it up at the last meeting, and I put it on the agenda at the beginning of the meeting, and then when I brought it up, I made a motion to take the $107,000 and subtract it from the administrative budget. Because if you subtract it from the administrative budget, then you would have a lower levy.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be subtracting one of these numbers, the 27 proposed or the 26 to be determined now in August. And that would be saving the taxpayers in the district $107,000 and some change. But I didn't get a second. You see how popular I am. And then if I would have got a second, Council Elroy Hansen would have said, he'd have said to void it all out because it wasn't on the agenda, so everybody would know about it. And I respect that. So this time, it's on the agenda. This time, I'll bring it up again. And I've talked to, actually, a Norman County Commissioner and a Clay County Commissioner, and now I'm talking to you guys, and whatever you support me on, fine. But that's on the agenda, and I bring it up on behalf of the administrative advisory, I should say the advisory committee, because they have asked, why do we own the land? You know, why don't we sell it? I'd vote for that too, but I'm not getting anywhere. So I tried for 100.
The wild rice has to still pay property tax, and it still has to pay property tax on that land.
Yeah, being they generate income off it, then they have to pay real estate tax on it.
So you could, if you were arguing this, you could say minus the property tax if you,
107 minus the property
yeah,
tax.
which would be probably 10 grand.
Yeah, $40 an acre, yeah, probably a little more.
But I just point out that being it's income generated, so it's not something that you're, I mean, I would agree, if it's not a project use, I think what they bought it for originally is they're trying to buy land that people don't want to sell, so they're trying to trade like land so they don't have to buy, because farmers usually don't want to lose acreage. They're looking, if, you know, a farmer owns 500 acres, doesn't want to lose 200 acres because they can't go and buy it close, so they're saying, well, here's 200 acres here, would you trade that? So.
Yeah, it was purchased however many years ago, 10 plus, like Barry said, for the option to have trading material. And they did trade one parcel last year on the Gooseberry Marsh, which is between Hitterdall and Hewlin. And that got to be a retention site. I think it was 1.75 million to build that site. And they traded one parcel with the guy to get that site. So, and that's the only parcel that's been traded that I can think of since.
So are you asking, Dwayne, if we would support you asking to subtract the 107 minus the real estate tax from the administrative budget to lower the levy?
Well, that's what I would like. I had another friend that suggested maybe the increased rate, which should be subtract the 26 from the 27 and you get 13,000 or a lesser amount that would be more palatable to the rest of the board members.
Well,
Yeah, I think whatever you can do to lower
Madam
it
Chair,
would be supportive.
I think you have our support in your endeavor. With nothing on the agenda, we can't give you a formal action, you know, in my opinion. I don't
I would
think we should
agree.
give formal action, but you bring forward a reasonable request and.
Yep.
Okay,
We
does
support you in
anybody want to come to the next meeting? One of you?
Barry?
Barry's on the committee.
What do you say, August 12th?
August 12th.
Dwayne came and saw me and I volunteered Richard.
Well, Richard could.
And then Noah's fine too, but
Sure.
I got a Norman County Commissioner and a Clay County Commissioner that it's going to be there.
I'm not saying I can't, but I am terribly behind, and if you could do it, Barry.
I have a meeting. Time is the meeting?
Starts at 8:30. I don't know what, it doesn't have an agenda time.
Yeah, we have a sheriff's committee that's been rescheduled, so I can't.
All right, Dwayne. I'll have to go.
Richard's there.
Well,
He's got your back.
Inform the presses.
Well,
I'm gonna support you. I appreciate you, and
well, am I missing anything? You can see the handwritten, and I apologize for, I'm old. So it's handwritten. But it just gives you something to think about, approximate income per year, land rent, 107K plus. And I asked for a data request and they didn't have it done yesterday. Otherwise, I could have had you accurate numbers. So I plugged it in. Interest income.
Oh, we have human
what do I do
services.
about that?
We could reschedule human services, I'm sure.
Well, or, yeah.
Unless Phil wants to go.
I'd like to support you.
What time is human service?
8:30 or 8:15.
You can't, you got sheriff.
I know I can't go.
Is the meeting in
Ada.
We all have conflicts at this time, but.
But usually human services, you could handle it, can't you?
I can handle it.
You do whatever you want. Yes.
I mean, she knows, I just sit there. And
Sit there and look pretty.
I think that's something we work out after the meeting and go from there.
All right,
Madam Chair, since we have Kyle and Brian here, could we do an update on blighted properties, or is that past agenda issue?
I mean, I would be fine with it if we want.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we're talking about getting an update from Brian and Kyle if they're willing to on something else, but.
Okay, I mean, if it works for you, I'd appreciate it. If it doesn't work, I understand completely.
No, I'm gonna be there.
Richard will be there.
And the other suggestion would be one of the commissioners from Monoman County. Any ideas, or should I take that upon myself?
Well, I would talk to Dave Gehrig.
That was my suggestion.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Dave would probably help you.
He's knowledgeable in the.
Do you want to initiate it and he call me?
I can text him right now, but I don't know what I'm going to ask him if he can attend but I think.
To have him call Dwayne.
I think he should contact his appointment or the Monoman County's appointment on the board if they.
Well, they have two appointees.
Yeah.
And, well, you see my strategy behind this.
Well, that would be for him, I mean, that would be for him to, if he wants to pressure his voters to do that, or his appointments, but that's.
Wednesday.
We're talking August.
Yeah, we're right. No, this is May. No, we're talking August. Lord have mercy.
Okay.
If I may finish the back page?
Yes.
Down in the corner where it's handwritten, approximate amount of income per year. Land rent, we've discussed that 107K plus. Interest income, like I just mentioned earlier, I asked for a data request and they didn't have it done yesterday, but if you take 4% on 10 million, that's $400,000 a year. And I know other years I've asked for that data request and it was 360,000. And the one watershed, one plan, and you know I'm an SWCD supporter. That started out at 1.3 million for a 2 years budget. So, and now it's 1.9 million for a 2-year budget. And the watershed takes 30% off the top for their own spending. And you take that 30% and you divide it in half. So the watershed then generates $285,000 out of that money that I tried to get all to the SWCDs. And then the bottom one is I picked the levy, 900,000, and you go back to page 3, you can see how the levies kind of got to that, and I left it, I mean, we know what the mill rate is. The mill rate's going to be that 0.03627. We know the mill rate is set by the red board, but we don't know, this office didn't know what the appraiser's value was.
I have to ask a question. Can you tell me, when the Wild Rice watershed charges back, Mary will probably be able to tell me, you're charging a dollar amount or a mill rate? And the dollar amount generates the mill rate. They're asking a dollar amount, right? They're not asking.
Right, but it's based on what the assessed value is divided by the tax.
Right, but you're not, what I'm asking is, the Wild Rice ask for a dollar amount, not and the rate is affected by what that dollar amount is, correct? Just like the board. Okay. So I'm doing my question was, the mill rate doesn't really, I mean, it doesn't amount to what your dollar that you're receiving in total matters. The mill rate doesn't matter. It's just that mill rate just determines who's paying what portion of that.
Depending on
the value of your land.
Right.
Right, but the dollar amount that's collected is the same regardless what that mill rate is.
I don't know the answer.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. The Wild Rice watershed asked for 900,000. They're going to get 900,000, and that mill rate is fluctuating on the property, to get the 900,000.
But the mill rate would be on the current assessor's value.
Right.
So, and that's
right, but what I'm saying is it's a dollar amount generated, and then the mill rate is generated by the dollar amount. It's not, you don't get a mill rate and then you just pass that on, and whatever dollar amount you get. You're getting a specific dollar amount. I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Based on the assessor's value.
Yes.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I thought we were going to be done early today.
I thought we were too.
All right.
Thanks, Dwayne.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you
Dwayne.
for coming.
Keep bugging me or asking me something, so I know I
do.
got support. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you. All right.
Happy to do it. Do you need to amend your agenda or something? We're not on there anywhere.
I don't know. I think
Can
maybe
we
not
do
for just an
to
update.
blighted property?
Yeah, I understand the request. I'm just saying, can
Yeah.
we just throw it on the public meeting?
Dwayne was.
We got through the work.
I don't know.
That's what my
would-
advice is, but
I would say that this
I'm
is-
here.
I would say we need to add it to the agenda for just giving an update from the county. I mean, because if it's on the agenda, there's going to be people interested. So
Yeah.
I would maybe ask that you maybe just do it next meeting.
I was just gonna say,
Dwayne's-
or we could just do it next meeting. Yeah.
And
I
I
would-
can certainly tell Commissioner Hanson.
Yeah, if
for
you
the
want to
meeting
ask
what-
specifically,
what's
but
going
I think it'd be best because there's people
Well, we had a
genuinely
guy in
interested.
here today. in
Yeah,
open
there,
forum. I
and
mean,
we need, and maybe we just
So
put on,
let's
so the
add-
public can hear it.
We'll put it on the agenda since
For
we
next
had
time.
somebody
Yeah.
to give a blighted property update.
Put that on the agenda next time.
Yes,
Yes.
Please.
whatever time he can do it at.
Yep.
I would, and just in the meantime, I would ask each one of you to go take a look at his complaint.
The brandy.
a lot better.
Well, there's that, and I'm not sure how much more progress we'll get there, so.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned.